You are now listening to the Chicago Clubhouse podcast.
My name is DJ Vince Adams. I absolutely appreciate what the Chicago Clubhouse crew is doing for the city of Chicago.
Hey, young world, what's good? It's your boy Bernard Varian, a.k.a. B Twice.
What up? This is Rasheed Davis, former Chicago Bear wide receiver.
Hey, my name is Lemuel Stinson, a.k.a. Lemonhead, formerly of the Chicago Bears.
What's up? My name is C.J. Watson, former Bulls guard and bench farm creator.
This is two-time six-man all-star baller Ricky Deuces Pierce.
What's up, people? This is Chicago radio legend Rick Party, the voice you hear everywhere.
My name is Pee-wee from the movie House Party.
This is Megan Martinez from the Good and Funny podcast.
Hey, this is Bubba Ball from the Shits podcast.
Hey, this is Nika from One Shot Wellness, Reverend from the ATL, dropping some drips on that Chi-Town Clubhouse podcast.
This is Sherry, and you're rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse podcast.
You are now rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse podcast.
You're now rocking with Chicago Clubhouse podcast.
And you're rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse podcast.
And you're rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse podcast.
Where they think they know everything.
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 Where they think they know everything, but they don't know shit.
But they don't know shit.
But they don't know shit.
But they really don't know shit.
But they really don't know shit.
But they really don't know shit.
But honestly, they don't know shit.
And I smell something. I smell something. I smell podcast. The Chicago Clubhouse podcast show.
They really don't know shit.
You already know what time it is.
You see this Eddie Jackson jersey right here? Take this.
This dude literally just took my soul.
So I didn't like playing with Brett Favre at all.
You could have waited until the draft if you wanted to look at another quarterback. You didn't have to sign Andy Dalton, who is really nothing but a backup.
Evander Holyfield is 58 years old. What you want to fight a 58-year-old man?
Well, man, he wants to keep fighting.
Because he want to fight him. Okay, it's an exhibition.
But yeah, it's an exhibition because, you know.
This ain't Drago and Apollo Creed, man. Ain't nobody about to.
Man, Martin and Tommy Hearns was an exhibition. You saw what happened to Martin.
This could hurt.
Thanks, Hayden. Nothing but the best.
Okay.
All right.
That bro tough for real, man.
Yeah, man. He like tougher than some grown folks I know, man.
That as a coach, your job is to give your players the best opportunity to have success.
Michael Jordan, when he came back at LeBron James' age, he was a straight up nothing.
That is blasphemy on his computer right now.
Because I'm gonna tell you something. Without Dennis Rodman, I couldn't see them winning like they did those second three championships. I can't see it.
I agree.
And now I'm the voice of SportsCenter on ESPN. Now on SportsCenter. Tonight, LeBron James. And whatever.
Do you guys really coach how exactly to tackle correctly? Because I see it all over the league now. People cannot tackle like they did whenever you guys played. But do you guys practice tackling at all?
Wake y'all asses up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Saturdays are tough, man. I said that last Saturday. They're real tough. But we have a great guest today. The best quarterback in my lifetime, at least. The best quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Definitely in my lifetime. But first, you know how I always kick this off. Moore's Beer. Gotta have one. I don't care what time of day it is. It could be 9 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter. It's always good. Raise your standards. And that was a commercial for Moore's Beer. I just gave him a commercial right now. But yeah, man. Our guest today, I can't wait to talk to him. If if we fall down, but we get up. We fall down, but we get up. If that was a person, and we always say, if so-and-so was a person, if that was a person, we fall down and we get up and get up strong as hell. That is our guest. And you saw the plugger, so you probably already know who I'm talking about. And first, I'm going to bring in my all-star team. First up, my man, the stat man who knows every single stat from every single team since the 80s and 90s, basketball and football. My man, JB. JB, what's good, man?
Man, can't get enough, CCP. Hey, stand up. We got a real one today.
A real one.
Got a real one today.
Real one. I cannot wait to dive in. What you got planned for this weekend,
man? Actually, I'm just looking forward to chopping the guests real quick, and then later on, watch them play. They play in South Dakota, so I'm gonna be.
So basically, you ain't got shit to do. You ain't got shit to do after this podcast. You ain't...
Relax. Put my feet up. Relax.
Right. Get you a Moors. Get a Moors. There's another shameless plug.
Give me some Moors. I don't. It's a little for me, but normally I would. But
Right.
But that's
it. Let's bring in the other all-star. Our guy, X Factor, AB.
Wake up, everybody! Wake up! It is a beautiful.
What's up, AB?
Beautifully horrible Saturday here in Illinois. We got done with our snow and sleet a little bit ago.
Sucks outside.
Freezing as hell outside.
Yeah,
not looking forward to it. Not looking forward to winter.
Bear weather is here.
Bear weather. Here we go with that. Maybe
I wish there was bear planes. I wish there was a bear plane, but there's not.
There needs to be bear weather, but I don't
playing like the Cubs.
I don't feel like we have bear weather anymore in Chicago. The way the
field
is.
It doesn't hurt anybody else but us. But
yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
At least we don't have to worry losing this weekend.
No, we don't. But I'm excited for this guest, guys. This guest today is literally one of my childhood heroes growing up. The first and only quarterback I've seen that gave me faith that we could have an offense was this gentleman right here. So I am very excited for this interview today. As you couldn't tell, rocking my jersey today. First jersey I ever bought as a young boy. Man, I'm ready to rock it. Let's go.
Well, I'm usually the point guard and the quarterback today, but I'm going to step to the side and just be the point guard. Because we got a real quarterback here today. We do. Sorry, Jay Cutler and all the other ones. Sorry about that, but we got a real quarterback here today. Justin, no offense to you, dog.
One day, Justin.
Right.
Maybe Justin can have a conversation with our guest and learn some things.
He needs to.
Absolutely.
But yeah, let's bring in our guest, man. I guess you already know our guest is former Chicago Bears quarterback Erik Kramer.
Yes, sir. How are you, Mr. Kramer?
Very good, man. You guys have pumped us up pretty good. In fact, that's probably the longest intro to a show I've ever seen. Like, we got time left, right?
Absolutely. Me too, yes.
That was good.
I like to talk about November birthdays because my birthday is in November.
And mine.
Right? Yours is too, AB? I didn't know that.
Mine is on Thanksgiving this year, November 25th.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
November babies are the best, man. That's what we are.
You got that right. Love. Congratulations in advance.
You're congrats to you, AB. You're a turkey.
Every 7 years, yes, sir.
But yeah, so since I like to talk about November birthdays, there's one that I want to recognize right now. AB, can you pull that up for me?
Again.
Who is that guy?
I don't know.
Loving the hat there.
A very young, youthful hair looking Erik Kramer right there. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Happy belated birthday.
I appreciate that. Thank you, fellas.
Happy birthday.
So we really want you to kick this off. So you can start wherever you like.
All right.
Really? Wow.
Well,
you're just giving him the floor.
Yeah, basically.
Taking run with it, Erik.
Well, I'll let you guys ask me whatever you want, but I'll start this off by saying that I think the Bears got this quarterback situation right now with Justin Fields.
So
I was I'll be honest with you. I was reserved in this what I'm about to say, because at Ohio State I did not see him play a whole bunch, but I saw some highlights that to me seemed like lowlights. It might have resulted in a great catch or a touchdown, but I'm seeing receivers have to kind of wait on the ball or miss open guys or not see open guys. But I went to that first preseason game this year against the Dolphins, and from right away, he looked like he's been doing this like at a high level forever. And whatever's going on now, obviously there's some growing pains on his side that are just everybody goes through those.
Yeah.
But what's around him and what's being handed to him, I've got to question that a little bit.
Right.
I can
like
definitely
and maybe more than a little bit. Now I don't know. I think I've met Coach Nagy maybe once or twice, but I don't really know him, and I've never played for him. I don't know anyone that has played for him, so I can't really comment on him specifically. I just kind of like everybody know that what I'm seeing, it looks off.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, we don't know him. We've never played for him.
We don't shy away from this conversation, Erik.
Don't want to play.
We don't shy away from this conversation at all. No, we all kind of have.
There's no such thing to me as a non-passionate Bears fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they exist. They're not really
and they're everywhere. They're even out here where I live. So there's Bear bars. Like there's places in Burbank where
you're in California, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is back, this goes back to the days before DirecTV and where you could get everyone's games on. They're like distinct, bar / restaurants that were Lions, were Bears, and so it's kind of cool. So and they're still around.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, we're all kind of in agreement here about Nagy. He's kind of the square peg and round hole here. We don't really view him as the correct guy because he doesn't really identify his personnel the way that we identify his group. It's more of a running type team. He wants to have an offensive line in front of him that is solid, that can let Justin hold the ball for 5 seconds. This isn't that group. They are getting to him early and often. It's something that has been a problem all year. It's probably going to continue to be a problem until we address that offensive line, which is hopefully what we do this offseason, Erik. That's what we're all in hopes for. And hopefully Nagy isn't the guy going forward for us, because we don't think he can be that guy. We don't think he can identify and really adjust for his personnel.
He's getting Justin killed.
Yes.
Well, so I would agree with you. But now let me ask you, this is a question I need to ask.
Yeah.
So from what I've heard lately, they like the offensive tackle that's now on the right side. And I forget
Larry Borum.
And then they also like the guy that is also a rookie tackle.
That would be Tevin Jenkins.
Jenkins.
Yes.
So simply because of injuries, those might be the guys, but because they have been injured early, it's still unclear. Am I?
No, you are 100% correct. Okay. So Larry Borum, actually coming out of college, was the only the only tackle who actually gave up 0 pressures in all of college football. He looks like the real deal. He's probably going to move over to left tackle whenever they actually get Tevin back, because a lot of people think that he's better suited for the right side, and he's got a lower back issue. He's finally running again at practice. So hopefully towards the end of the season, we can maybe see him in. Maybe they just sit him on the sidelines because it is a back and it is something that delicate that they might want to just, rein back those saddles, I guess, and just let him sit it out, let him get healthy, start next year. But that's what we're all hoping too as well, Eric. That's 100% what we're hoping happens. But
So
we've had a lot of that in the past.
With Larry Borum, he actually came back against the Steelers.
Yeah.
And he didn't do that bad.
Well,
so
he kept TJ pretty in check.
And he played against the Niners too, actually.
He did.
He held Bosa to I think a pressure maybe or something. Like he's very good on that on that
now,
side.
That's a game I was at, the 49ers. And I got to tell you, what the fudge happened to let Deebo Samuel on 3rd and 19 go 83 yards with a freaking screen with
Thank you.
He had a receiver blocking for like one.
Well, it was just the scheme that Shanahan drew up. Like, it happened a lot that game. You saw a lot of times where there was more 49er blockers than there were Bears defenders on either side of the field. That's just Kyle Shanahan knowing how to scheme and the Bears defense not knowing how to tackle. That's the other thing, man.
The tackling is
the secondary
atrocious.
was absolutely horrible. They lost Eddie Jackson. They didn't have Gibson, and they had backup safeties. They're just not good. Yeah, they're just not good in the secondary right now, and I don't see it getting any better this year.
And we talked about us having those timely injuries, but unfortunately, we don't have the next man up. We have the mentality, but we don't necessarily have the personnel.
Yeah,
and we're grossly undersized, especially CB2, nickel, dime. We're undermatched.
Safety,
safety. And
the other middle linebacker,
they're a try-hard bunch, and we always applaud Hart, but sometimes Hart doesn't always equal production.
Right.
So,
I mean,
we're just kind of in that weird conundrum right now. But
yeah, like a lot of us think that this defense needs to be completely overhauled and redone, and maybe have 2 or 3 guys that are on this team as the cornerstones, and the rest of the group can just go at this point. And we need to start focusing on the offense with a guy like Justin Fields that we can build around for the future and have maybe a 4,000-yard passer, because ever since we haven't anybody even sniff it.
And I'm glad you brought that up. Eric, can we switch gears a little bit?
Of course.
Please? I want to go down a trip down memory lane because I'm telling you, I'm one of those guys. So
1995.
Take me back from ACC Player of the Year, because we know, you did a road less traveled like some of us have seen with, first going to I think you went to a JUCO first.
Right.
But tell us, ACC Player of the Year, Saints, Falcons. A lot of people don't know that. The Stampede,
Right.
you were on the video games, Tecmo Bowl and everything. So like, if you don't mind starting from there, take us through that little journey, man. Let people know who we really are talking to, because I don't think they really know how good you were.
All right. All right. Well, going back to, I guess, high school. So I never started in high school, not at quarterback anyway.
Okay.
And so then I went to junior college, and the first year I went part-time to school and didn't play because they had a quarterback already coming back that had a pretty good year his first year, and then there was someone backing him up too. So it took me to my third year to actually play.
Oh, wow.
And it just so happened that year there was a guy who came in. He was I had never heard of him before, but apparently in high school, he was a coaching legend out in the Inland Empire. And he had a running game that the connection was he once coached our head coach, Jim Fenwick, in youth football. That was his connection. And we had an offense that was so dominant that we were number one in the country. We were scoring, 60, 70 points a game.
Oh, wow.
And then, as you mentioned, I got recruited by a few schools, Illinois being one of them. And
should have went there.
Pitt was another one. And so anyway, go to NC State, and we go 3-8 my first year, and 3 games. And then a new coach came in that had killed us the year before, named Dick Sheridan. Okay. And he was at Furman. Now, Furman at that time, I don't know if they still are, but they were 1AA school. And they absolutely destroyed us. I was like 40 something to 20. And I think Coach Reed had stepped down for a reason I don't know. But anyway, Coach Sheridan came in, and at that time, he was and probably still is the best head coach I've ever played for. He just had a way of not only dealing with you with respect and admiration, but he knew more than you do. He knew more than everybody that he was going to play head coaching wise. Yeah. And you could tell that very quickly as a player. And so, yeah, we had at that first year, we had a magical season. I think we went in the regular season, we went 8-2-1. And the one game that we lost that we did lose legitimately was Georgia Tech. But we tied Pitt 10-10. And I missed the tight end Ralph Britt down the middle on some throw that would have been a walk-in touchdown. And I can't remember the other game we lost. Oh, Virginia. I played the first half, but really caught a high ankle sprain. And so we ended up losing that game, which we would have won the ACC championship game had we won that one. And then we went on to play the Peach Bowl, and we lost to Virginia Tech on a last-second field goal. And but nonetheless, we beat a bunch of teams that NC State hadn't beaten in a long, long time, like Maryland, Clemson. I'm trying to think of who else. Well, pretty much everybody, because there was only 8 teams in the league back then. And so, yeah, it was a fun year. And then you mentioned the Saints. So I was an undrafted free agent and went to New Orleans. And in fact, training camp for the Saints back then, I don't know where they have it now, but it was down in Hammond, Louisiana at some southeastern Louisiana State University or something. And I knew very quickly I was going to make that team even into the offseason. And so it just so happened that when I got cut, it was after the third preseason game. And so I went back to school and was going to finish up my degree and likely get into coaching. And then the players, 1987 NFL players, went on strike. And I got called by a few teams, ended up going to Atlanta. And then we actually played, the 3 games that we played were against the Steelers first, and then we lost that one, and the 49ers we played second because they were in the same league back then. And that's when about half of their team had crossed, including Montana and Dwight Clark, I think it was. Yeah. And Roger Craig and Dwayne Board, whatever. Anyway, we almost won that game. And then the Rams, we played next, and pretty much everybody had crossed. It was back for them, and we beat them. Mm-hmm. So the Falcons retained me after that. I didn't play again, but that year. But then came back in 1988 and got cut. And then, as you mentioned, went up to play in Canada. I waited around thinking maybe someone would call, a team would call, but they didn't. And so I went and played for Calgary. And they had, I think, 6 games left in their season. And then, so I played in those. And then, but there was a game I actually against Saskatchewan threw 6 interceptions.
Whoa.
And so you would think after 3 or 4, right? They would put someone else in. But
what's your mindset after throwing like 3 or 4? Are you just blanking that out and just going out and I'm just going to keep chucking?
I don't know. It was so long ago. I can tell you right now, my confidence would have been shook for sure.
Yeah.
But my point is that season ended, and then we come back for the next year, and the coach, we had an inter squad games. We didn't play a game yet, and the coach made it. It was Larry Kaharick. I think he's passed away now, but he made it live on the quarterbacks, and so we had a guy who had played tight end that was Canadian, but had played tight end I think he went to Oklahoma State or something, and he was playing left tackle, and whoever was playing defensive end beat him around, and as he's going by, this guy clips him in behind, and then he falls into my knee, my left knee. So I blew my posterior cruciate ligament out, done for the year.
Ow.
So I didn't have a 1989 season. I was up in Canada, so I learned how to fly fish, and
heck yeah.
And then next year I didn't have a place to go back to, and then so I just called around all the teams. And I think it was 28 at that time, and the Lions were the one team that called me back, and I think they had a guy, Joe Bashofsky, I think was a scout or something that at one time or another been through NC State as probably a coach or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I got flown out there to try out, but the problem was they didn't have the Silverdome, which is in Pontiac. They didn't have the turf down, and I think they had, I don't know, tractor pull or something going on.
Huh.
And so Mouse Davis, who was their offensive coordinator, when I was sitting in his office, he walks in and he's like, "Who are you?" So I don't even think they told him I was coming. So he's like, "Okay, so we don't have to put you on a plane without working out." We drove down to Ann Arbor at the University of Michigan, and they had an indoor facility. So June Jones was a receiver coach, and who I think had played for Mouse Davis, like in college or something. And so Mouse would sit back with me and have me roll out this way and throw back this way or whatever the route was. But June would just be standing out there. And so I want to say that was sometime in like February. And then I go home, I get a phone call. I think the guy, I don't know if they had a general manager, but the guy that was kind of their bean counter at that time, called me up and said, "Okay, we'd like to sign you." And okay, great. So then they had a mini camp down in Tampa Bay and back at the old Sombrero. And so after that mini camp, the draft followed that, and they drafted Andre Ware with the 7th overall pick. I thought I was going to be getting the next call saying, "Hey, thanks, but no thanks." And he held out a training camp and didn't really do much during any of the off-season workouts. And so I got a chance to play. And I remember it was the 3rd preseason game. We were playing Kansas City in Detroit. And I think we drove down. We drove down the score. We're getting drive down again. Oh, and prior to that, someone in the personnel department, a guy named Ron Hughes, he says, "Hey, just so you know, you're going to make this team. But sometime during the game tonight, we'd like you to go down with an injury, maybe walk off with a limp or something." Well, going back to that play, I'm rolling out, and Lonnie Martz, who was their outside linebacker, comes in and leapfrogs over Barry and lands in my right shoulder. So I separated my shoulder on the spot. So I didn't have to fake anything.
Wow.
So,
I can't believe they actually asked you to fake an injury. That's wild.
Well, back then, teams would, I think in what teams were doing back then, like the Redskins were famous for this, for putting guys on IR and then bringing them off IR whenever someone else went down. So in 1990, which is what that year was, prior to that, the NFL had a rule that once you go on IR, you're IR forever. I mean,
done for the year. Yeah.
For the year.
Yeah. So that's what I did. I went and I would sit in the stands at home games. I'd travel. But anyway, so yeah, then 91, Rodney was playing well. And I think we were, 6-2 at some 5-2. And then he got hurt against Dallas. I think he tore Achilles tendon or something. And that was a game against Dallas. And I came in after that. We won. And then we went on to beat Dallas in the playoffs. And then we ended up in the NFC Championship game where we got smoked by the eventual Super Bowl champion Redskins. Actually, the first game of the season, we lost by 40. That game, we lost by something like 30 or 40. And so anyway, that's kind of what got me going, I would say, that year.
Wow. See, I'm more interested in when you came to Chicago.
Well, that's next.
Because I definitely watched. Yeah, like we all definitely watched you when you were with the Lions. I was young, but I watched because it was a division rival, obviously. Yeah. But when you came to Chicago, that was a different kind of buzz for us. I mean, we hadn't had a guy who would let anyone like that since pretty much Jim McMahon. You know, like we hadn't had anyone we had faith in throwing the ball since that. And whenever you came in, I know me as a young boy, I mean, I was like, this is it. This is the guy. He's going to lead us to the promised land. He can throw the ball. We've got Curtis Conway coming out, you know, all
Right.
these guys coming in. That got me excited. What was it like whenever you actually decided to leave the Lions and head over? I want to call us the good side.
Right. I'll call you the good side too. I believe so.
The good side.
So what happened with all that was that the Lions never offered me a contract.
Oh, really?
Oh, after,
So I was a free
91?
agent.
Okay.
What's that?
That was
And
after
so-
the 91-92 season?
This was after
That
the
would have been the
93
93 season.
93
Yeah, because he
season,
came in 94.
Yeah, so that's the year I actually became. That was my 5th year, so I became a free agent. And so the Bears, it was funny because I think my agent called me at that time, named Tom Condon. He calls me and says, hey, the Bears are interested in you. And great. So at that time I was married, and it was kind of like getting recruited all over again. And so I think I mentioned to you, I don't know if it was on air or maybe before, one of the teams that recruited me coming out of Pierce Junior College was the University of Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
The quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator for Pittsburgh that year was Ron Turner. And so here we are 10 years later, and Ron Turner and Dave Wannstedt picked Marshawn, that's my wife at that time, and I up the airport. And we go to Gibson's for dinner.
There you go.
And we're walking around downtown afterward and get back in the hotel. I forget where it was we stayed, but I literally walked in the hotel room door and dropped everything. I'm like, start jumping up down the bed. Because you got to remember, I was like not recruited out of high school.
That's awesome.
Didn't even play quarterback in high school. Then had to go to junior college. And, you know, this to be sort of then to say, hey, you know, here's a team that's like, you're our guy. That never happened to me before. Even to NC State, they brought in 2 other junior college quarterbacks as well. So anyway, it was fun to begin with. I will say that. It started out great. And then, you know, that 94 season, we were playing okay. I think we won a couple games and lost a couple. And it was some game against the Vikings. And during the game, I got a separated shoulder. And so.
Same shoulder?
Right shoulder. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so, so it was about I don't know, 4 to 6 week injury, I think. And so when I was out, the team was still doing okay. In fact, Steve Walsh was coming in. It wasn't always pretty, but we were winning. And so when I was ready to come back, I didn't come back. And so that was a tough thing to kind of go through. And so the following year, I think we ended up going to the playoffs, right? We beat Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
And then we got absolutely smoked by the 49ers.
Yeah.
And that was the year they went on to win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And then the next year, 95, in all the offseason, and I didn't have a problem with this, but Wannstedt said, hey, you know, this is going to be an open competition. So it's going to be like, we're going to track everything, off-season, training camp, everything. So nobody knew who was going to win until it was announced. And so we start out and we start winning a few games, and the offense is playing pretty well. And before one of the home games, this is probably 5 games in the season, you know how players will go out before even the team comes out, and you kind of walk around and play a little catch, whatever. So one guy in the stands says, hey, Kramer, come over here. And I go, yeah, what? He goes, hey, you and I this year are killing it. I'm like, in what? And he's like, fantasy football.
Everything.
I'm like, what the hell is fantasy football? And so now it's funny because when I was done playing, for about 3 or 4 years, I was on a fantasy football show, and Warren Moon was on it, and it was at Fox Sports. And so I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you what I think happened is I wouldn't have gotten drafted, and some player, like he might have picked me up off of waivers, right, or something, and then sticks me in, and away we go.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny because I'd never heard of fantasy football then. And even now I do a podcast on fantasy football.
Oh, really? Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That 95 season, I definitely remember it well. I was praying that you hit 30 touchdowns and that you hit 4,000 and you were just short of both.
Right.
Just short of both.
And it's funny you mentioned that because in our last game of the season against Philadelphia, and there was a play. It was a play that we would call like on pretty much any time, but for sure down near the goal line or a 3rd and 4th down and short. And so Keith Jennings was our main tight end. And I remember coming back and he was wide open and it would have been a touchdown. And I threw it kind of fading away a little bit and overthrew him. And so when people ask, hey, what was it like to throw 29 touchdowns? Like, what kills me is not throwing 30.
Not getting that round number. Absolutely.
You threw a lot of beautiful passes to Curtis Conway.
Absolutely.
Yes, you did.
What how did you feel about that connection? I mean, was it like every play call where you're like, okay, he's my number one guy. I'm definitely looking for him first. How was that?
Well, I will say no, it's not that simple. So you build an offense, right, and then you have reads that take you places. And so Curtis was so fast and had he was very good at running the deep post. And I remember Ivan Fears, who's been with the Patriots all this time as their running back coach, at that time was our receiver coach. And they would drill it into the receivers you step on 15 yards before you break to the post. And it was literally like, we want the ball. We want you to catch the ball as a receiver. I think it was like 2 yards outside the hash, which is lined up with the goalpost. So at that time, a lot of teams played what's called cover 4, and where you've got 4 safeties, for the corners and the safeties all playing quarters. And so we had a play called Blade where the tight end, could be Keith Jennings or whoever is in there, takes an inside release on the linebacker, comes up, and at 10 yards starts to bend outward. And the outside guy, which would be Curtis, runs the deep post. Mm-hmm. And then the back would check his way out into the flat. And so if you get that safety where he kind of hesitates, where he might be going to take the tight end, then if he hesitates at all, you just hit your foot and go. Yeah. And we scored quite a few touchdowns on that. Now, I will say there was a Monday night game we played against Minnesota. And this is back when they had John Randall. And he's a guy that you would game plan for. So like in base protection, which was that blade route, it'd be called red right 28 blade. And the back to John Randall's side, if that linebacker didn't come, that back was told to go through John Randall's gap, which would be the B gap.
Yeah.
So the center would normally have the middle linebacker, and when he didn't come, he'd double over with Randall. So he went through a triple team on his way and damn near beat me back there. Wow. It was a touchdown, but it nonetheless, like, that was impressive. And so timing was everything in that offense. And so, you made your read pre-snap, you made your read as you're dropping back. And then when you hit your back foot and take a quick hitch, and it's gone. And you don't wait for people to get open. So Curtis just happened to have no speed. Like that's you banked on that. And and he would come up with it more times than not.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, you didn't wait for him to create separation. You just had that trust that
you banked on
going to create,
throwing him open. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a game. In fact, I think it was the first game of the season. We played Minnesota at home, and we run a play action where it's a hard run action, and it was a 2-man route, and Curtis ran a stutter go, and the receivers would wait until they got to 15 yards to stutter and then go 12 or 15. I can't remember which, long enough for that DB to take the cheese. And so there was a pass rush again where I didn't have time to wait. I just saw Curtis stutter and the other guy hesitate, and the ball's gone. Now, by the time the ball got there, he was wide open, but you can't wait for people to get wide open.
No, not in the NFL.
Right.
Did you have similar with Jeff Grant? Because Jeff Grant was a pretty good receiver too on the other side.
Jeff was unbelievable. Jeff was the best route running technician I've ever come in contact with.
Okay.
And he was big enough. I think he was probably 6'2"-ish, maybe 205, 210. I don't know, something like that. But good enough speed, not great. But the great thing about Jeff was, I don't care if it's zone or man, he's going to get to the top of the route. And wherever the DB is, it's because he put him there. And so you can anticipate any throw anywhere, because that guy was going to he's going to put the guy that's covering him in a position where Jeff's going to win coming out of the break.
Yeah.
So you don't wait for the break to happen. You just know, okay, here I am, here he is, ball's gone. And, he made some – I remember there was a catch he made in the Giants, against the Giants. Back then they played at the Meadowlands, and it was a one-handed back of the end zone, tap your feet down, touchdown. That that guy was all pro, like all professional. The way he practiced, the way he played in games, never took a playoff, and I think it's very unfortunate they didn't sign him back after that second year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, who is your favorite player that you ever played with, whether it was high school, college, or the pros? The guy that you leaned on the most, I would say.
That's a good question.
Everyone has a favorite player.
Played with several pretty good ones. In college, we had 3 receivers all go in the pros. Haywood Jeffries played quite a while with the Oilers, with Warren Moon. People like guys that didn't have as good a pro careers, but still great college careers. A guy named Naz Worthen, he got drafted by Kansas City, and then Danny Peebles got drafted by the Buccaneers. But I'd say the most talented guy that just fell out of bed and was like, here I am, was Barry Sanders.
I was going to ask you about Barry. That's kind of where I thought you were going to go. What was it like playing with Barry Sanders? I know he's not Chicago, everybody. We know, but that's something we got to talk about.
Well, that's a loaded question. I mean, he goes from Barry Sanders to Rashawn Salam. Like, come on.
Hey, Rashawn wasn't terrible, man.
I mean, no, but
Rashawn was tough, man. He was rookie of the year.
Yes, he was.
That was the second jersey I got. But then I very quickly went back to this one because it's the one that mattered.
Well, I'll say this about Barry is he could make those top 10 things. I think it's on NFL Network or something. Top 10 plays of top 10 passes thrown by so and so. Top 10 runs of all time. I remember there was a guy on the top 10 runs one goes, hey, when it got to one of Barry Sanders, he goes, you could have a top 10 runs of just Barry Sanders, and those would be the best runs of all time.
Yeah, I agree.
And that might be at -1 yard. Like, I saw him, this is in 1990, so I wasn't playing, but we played in Chicago and run a little. We had 2 plays when I first got there, the run and shoot. One was a slant play, and one was a draw play to Barry. And we didn't have a tight end. And so there was a handoff to Barry on a draw play in which he comes up into the hole, and it's really just him and Mike Singletary. And at the end of that play, it was a first down, and Michael Singletary was on the ground and didn't touch anybody. Now, that's a Hall of Fame guy.
Wow.
But he's not the only one. Like, he did that to everybody. Cornelius Bennett, Bruce Smith. I remember in that same year, I think Thanksgiving game, I think it was against Denver. Simon Fletcher was a pretty good outside linebacker. And Barry takes the ball, and Simon Fletcher is unblocked. And the ball and Barry and Simon Fletcher all arrive at the same time. And Simon Fletcher never touches Barry Sanders.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
I mean, you've seen it. That dude
Yeah.
his butt would be this high off the ground, and in the next step, he'd be full speed somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
On a dime.
And it would be, like I said, it could be for -1 yard, but it would be 1 on 11.
Yeah.
And he'd make 10 of miss.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I remember John Mangum.
I do. Yes.
Okay. So I remember John telling me one time, he goes, this is back when I was in Detroit. He goes, Ditka, like before the game against Detroit, he goes, okay, when Barry gets the ball, you take your best shot. Just go for it. And when you miss, hopefully we'll have someone else there.
Hopefully.
He's not wrong, though. He's not wrong by any means.
That's crazy.
So
go ahead.
So I have a question. The Bears are about to play a Thanksgiving game again.
Right.
You played with the Lions. You played on Thanksgiving a lot. You like playing on Thanksgiving? Because I feel like if I was a player, I would not like playing on Thanksgiving because you're missing out on a lot of good food, man. Well, you're missing out on a lot. I always feel for you guys playing on Thanksgiving. I'm just like, man, that's gotta suck. I'm sitting here in my living room, all comfy, cozy.
Right. I get it's a good question, but here's how I'll answer it: is that you make a lot of sacrifices along the way that really don't feel like sacrifices. Looking back, I guess some people would think of them as sacrifices, but when you're playing, that's a 24-hour-a-day gig. Yeah. And so, yeah, I don't think you feel like you're missing out on anything because you end up having Thanksgiving dinner with everybody. It's just different. And so I remember, because you're right, and this year it's the Bears at the Lions again, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I remember one of those games we played against Chicago, and threw a little dump off pass to Barry, and he goes, I don't know, 40, 50 yards with it. Didn't score. But at the end of that play, Refrigerator Perry's sitting on me.
Oh my God.
And in no hurry to get up.
Oh my God. Oh.
And at that time, he was not like, a chase the ball guy, if he ever was. But at that point, he for sure wasn't. So, but it's anyway, so that's a great game to play in. Yeah. I will say that. And I can't remember all the teams that I played in that game against, but that was certainly one. I guess on Thanksgiving you feel like as a player, hey, there's no other game on. I guess the Cowboy game later, but
you got the primetime slot basically.
And I'm not sure back then if the Cowboys had a Thanksgiving game. I think that might be more recent, but maybe it was. But I don't know.
Right. I think you're right. So we had a fan actually chime in asking, what was the coldest or worst weather game that you ever played in?
Well, there's a few. I remember the schedule would come out. So I spent 4 years in Detroit and then backed up by 5 in Chicago. And the schedule would come out, and I'd always look at the last 2-3 games of the year. Not one time was it in San Diego. Not one time was it in Arizona. LA didn't have a team, and so
never got that favor. Huh?
And so it was Green Bay, Buffalo, Chicago, and I think I forget what year it was, but we played Green Bay, and it was 30 something below, 35 below, something like that. And
oh my God,
the field was absolutely frozen. I remember they had a safety named Tiger something or other, and Barry gets the ball on a draw play, and Tiger something, he's literally 6-7 yards off the line of scrimmage, and as Barry's coming, he starts to move and lands on the ground, and Barry just keeps running straight for however long he ran. Like, it was so cold. You had to put plastic baggies over your feet and socks. I think it was plastic bag socks first, plastic baggies next, and it was crazy. And if you had any skin like exposed, it was getting frostbite.
Yeah. So like, you're obviously wearing gloves all game. You're wearing sleeves. You're covering up as much of your face as possible. What's the football feel like? That's got to feel like a rock.
That's a good description of it. And the footballs, okay, so footballs come right out of the bag. And they've got a coating on them that's very slick.
Yeah.
And so the most that the equipment guys could do would be maybe to put them in the dryer.
Oh my God.
But there was nothing that you couldn't go practice one day with nothing. And so it was, and I couldn't throw with the glove on. So I had to play with one off. And
oh my God.
But so that's really the coldest temperature-wise game. But the coldest I've ever been wasn't that game. Coldest I've ever been was in 1994. We played Green Bay on Halloween night, and it was the night they were retiring Butkus and Sayers jersey.
Oh, okay.
And I had come out prior to that game. It was raining and it was really windy. It was cold. It was like freezing rain, and it was like 40, 50 mile an hour winds. And for warm-ups, I had come out in this non-breathable, like neoprene underneath so I was actually warm and kind of started sweating. So go back in, take it off, come back out, and now I'm wet. It's winds howling, and I felt like every time I would take a breath, I would break another rib. And
my God.
And I got replaced that game because I was playing poorly, and I sat most of that game on the sideline, and it was devastatingly cold. That's the coldest in my life I've ever been.
I don't remember who replaced you when you were playing.
Steve Walsh.
Steve Walsh,
number 4.
Number 4. Yep.
Okay, I remember Steve Walsh. I don't remember him being significant though.
That's why we're talking to Erik Kramer.
Right.
Let's just
that's
be
why
honest,
he's
guys.
not wearing number 4.
Damn right. Yeah, that's why I'm wearing a number 12, not a number 4.
So let me go back to that 95 season that you had, that magical season you had. I'm a little upset. I know you are, but I'm gonna set the stage. We haven't had a Pro Bowl quarterback since like Bobby Douglas or something like that. But Mitch made it. We know
we don't
it's
count alternates here. No.
Yeah,
we don't do the alternate thing here.
That's like an asterisk next to it.
There was, but I mean, we have to be factually correct on this show.
Yeah.
So we could honestly say that one year Jay Cutler, because he had 4 offensive people make the Pro Bowl, right? But in that 95 year, aside from Warren Moon and Brett Favre throwing for over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, you were actually next. But Steve Young and Troy Aikman made the Pro Bowl. How did that make you feel? Because I know I was pissed.
Credentials.
The guys you just mentioned are all in the Hall of Fame.
They are.
True, but you can't take away your season because you killed them.
Should be a popularity contest, Eric.
I got you. That plays a part in it. But at the same time, I was not focused on that as much as we didn't make the playoffs. And I remember walking off the field after beating Philadelphia that last game, thinking all we needed to do was have San Francisco beat Atlanta.
Yep.
And somehow they didn't.
I think they were scared to get you. I think they lost on purpose. That's what I think. But that's just me.
Because that year,
that's just me. Seriously.
I think you were definitely 9-7, but then you guys finished behind Minnesota and Green Bay, right? That year?
I'm not sure.
That was Detroit and Green Bay, I think.
I'll tell you in a minute.
I'm not. You got me on that one, G. I don't know.
Because that was Brett Favre for sure. They went 95. Yep. They went to the Super Bowl, I believe, and then or 95, 96. They went to the Super Bowl. But
right,
I know this for a fact. You had more touchdowns or yardage than both Steve Young, Troy Aikman, and they were on my little video game as Pro Bowlers. And I'm like, we have a guy that's throwing for 3,800 yards, 29 touchdowns. Where's he at? And we were pissed. But thank you for that magical season, man, for real.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
The Packers were 11-5 that year. The Lions were actually 10-6.
That's what I said.
The Bears were 9-7, and the Vikings were 8-8, and nobody cared about the Bucks anyway.
I was going to say, I remember when I first came to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So the only pro offense that I'd ever really been a part of for any significant time was that run and shoot in Detroit. So I didn't really know what offense I was getting into. And I was replacing Jim Harbaugh. And so I remember going to Ron Turner and saying, you know, is there anybody that's run this offense who you like the way they run this? And he goes, yeah, hold on a second. He looks behind his desk, and this is back in the VHS days. And he puts like 4 or 5 VHS tapes on his desk. He goes, here, take these home, take a look, and then when you come back tomorrow and let's talk about it. Well, I put it in, and it was all 49ers, Joe Montana.
Yep.
And that's the passing game we ran, as it turned out. And
that wasn't quite fair for him to put that on you right then and there.
Well, I will say that it really helped. It honestly did, because when you watch somebody and their footwork read a defense, it all works really well together. And later on, so Steve Young was very much the same way. By that time, by the time he was playing, he was kind of the standard in terms of footwork.
Okay.
In that very offense. And Aikman too. And that was pretty much the same passing game, because Norv and Ron, being brothers, I'm sure exchanged quite a bit. But anyway, so that I think I learned a lot. You know, I went from not knowing anything about that offense to knowing quite a bit. And that over time, that felt pretty good.
So I have a question. A lot of people say Dave Wanstead was a horrible coach. I want to hear what your opinion is on that.
No, I don't know how you can be horrible and be part of a Super Bowl staff. And
he was great in Dallas. Yeah, he was.
Now consider the two, Jimmy Johnson and Dave Wanstead, pretty much coached identically. And they were, I remember them being in communication a bunch. And even while Dave was the head coach with the Bears. And I think the talent level, which I'm not sure was Dave's responsibility, I think the talent level between Dallas and the Bears, at least in the 90s, was vastly different, top to bottom.
Absolutely.
And so can you pin all of that on Dave Wanstead? I don't think so. I know some players and certainly the fans and whatever had their issues. I never had one issue with him. Never, not once. I do remember a game. I don't know who it's against, but he must not have liked what I did on a 3rd down that created a 4th down punting situation. So he kind of, as I'm walking off, he kind of meets me and starts to get in my face about something. And I remember doing something like this as I'm walking by.
Talk to the hand, sir.
Damn.
To the hand, sir. Just keep on keeping on. I'm going to the bench, taking my break.
That was on me. I should have stopped and listened, but anyway, like just in general, though, I have nothing to say bad about Dave.
So I heard something in there that you said that like really kind of got my brain going. So you kind of made the whole comparison with him and the whole Dallas Cowboys staff, that they were better. Matt Nagy came from Andy Reid, and it's kind of the same thing. Do you think that there's something in there personnel-wise that we're probably too hard on Nagy for? Because in my opinion, it's no. Like, he just won't get off of his certain scheme. Do you think there might be something with that we're overlooking as, I guess, homers? We're all just Bears fans here.
No, I think if you go back to last year when Trubisky came back and was playing at the end, the offense seemed to be at times very committed to the outside zone run.
Yes.
Very committed to play action pass going the other way. And it was simple and it was effective. And it seems at times they've been that way again this year when they've been successful.
Yeah.
Obviously dropping back with 5-man protections all game against the Browns wasn't the way to go. But I think that they obviously have everything within their own offense as it sits today, where they don't really have to create anything new special for Justin Fields. It's already in there. It's been in there. It's just a matter of coming up with game plans that identify what you want to attack and keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were actually devising a game plan for a Justin Fields, what exact offense would you be running with him?
Well, so knowing a little bit about, Andy Reid's a West Coast offense guy. And so Matt Nagy, if he came from that, which he did, is going to have some West Coast offense. All 32 teams do, by the way. And so I would keep it somewhat simple and not elaborate, in terms of drop back passing, because there's a lot of protections in there. So I would keep it to where the protections make sense to Justin, and he can read protections and the coverage shell that kind of tips off where players are going to be potentially blitzing from, and then make sure that's all honed up. And then from there, like I'd said, they have a really strong running game. And so stick with it, and then establish the run and keep, like I remember Ron Turner saying damn near every week, we're going to pound the ball. We're going to be happy with 3 and 4 yards in the first quarter. We'll be happy with 2 yards in the first quarter. But those same runs are going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 in the fourth quarter. Yeah. And we're going to pass the ball the way we do also. And so it's the combination of both. You can't have, there's, other than the Baltimore Ravens that come to mind in terms of like fully committed, and they've got in one guy the best quarterback or one of the best quarterbacks and best running backs in the NFL in Lamar Jackson. Yeah. Well, there's nothing that says that Justin Fields can't be that too. And I would commit to the running game, which he's a big part of, and play action pass and enough drop back pass where, there's potential there. There's good players on the perimeter that can. You don't have to have, all world receivers to be an all world passing game. You just have to execute the offense. So what you're asking me, what I would do, it would be a combination of those three things.
Yeah. See, I'm just nervous about the play action though, Eric, because it doesn't feel like he gets enough time really, on a consistent basis to do it. So like a bootleg play action is probably more the route that I'm going, but you do get rid of one whole side of the field doing that.
Which is fine, but you also have boot throwback.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah, that's true.
And you see a lot of teams getting mileage out of that. Back when I was playing for the Bears, one of the main running plays we had was power O. So you're pulling a backside guard and typically a fullback behind him, or a guard and a tight end behind him. And so that's the play action. Like when you start pounding that up in there and being successful at it, the guy who's making that tackle is a safety every time.
Yeah.
And so now, like when I was mentioning earlier, that stutter go to Curtis, that was off play pass 6 power O. And so you got everybody but that cornerback out trying to stop that play.
Mm-hmm. And that was
so
man to man.
It's a firm protection. I think that was zone, but it doesn't matter. Like it's the corner's going to feel run action just like everyone else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so eventually when the receiver gets beyond a certain depth, that zone coverage turns into pretty much man coverage when there's nobody else on the field. And so if you can run the ball that way, because that was Dallas Cowboys run game too.
Yeah.
So and you get commitments out of the secondary so that power O play is not going to the house every play. So, we played Minnesota, and I forget who their safety was, but he was the guy making the play every time on that, like every time. Like you have everybody else blocked, and it'd be a 3-yard gain because of that guy.
That's a one guy. Yeah.
Fine. Then we'll play action pass out of that. So it's a simple trade-off, like, all right. And this is what going back to Dick Sheridan, I sat and watched a couple years ago. I went out to he lives in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I went to his house to sit and talk with him because I want to coach high school football and go over our offense from back then. And it's amazing how, like, watching it with the guy who designed it, like, in order to stop this play, the guy that's going to have to make that tackle is this guy.
Yeah.
So you already going into that game know what alternative play to that is, or maybe two. So, okay, great, stop that play. But then you're not stopping that one. And so you're always ahead of whatever the defense is doing. And I think that's if I was going to be an offensive coordinator for the Bears, that's the offense I'd want to run. I want to have something that we're not reacting to what the defense does. We're going in knowing to stop this. This is the guy that's got to stop it. Great. And because here's the play that's coming off of that play.
Okay.
Like we want to call the play that we know you're going to stop, but you're going to have to stop it this way.
Gotcha.
Which we go into the game knowing, great, when that happens, then this happens.
Right.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So do you think that the coaching staff right now is a little ahead of themselves or full of themselves?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, but
that's a great question. They can be both, right?
I think this coaching staff, which obviously starts with Matt Nagy, they've been on their heels coming into this season, right? Every choice they make, every game plan they design, after every game, they walk up to the podium having to explain themselves. And I think that it's tough to operate in any part of life that way. You want to be the one that's directing what's going on. You don't want to be the one going, what are they doing now? Oh, then what are we going to do?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's no way to be successful.
Yeah, you got to be the attacker and not the attacked. You have to be that going into a game, because if not, you're going to be, just like you said, on your heels all game.
Yeah, there's a great book that Bill Walsh wrote. It didn't come out until after he passed away. It's called The Score Takes Care of Itself. And he was known for that offense that he created, which wasn't the West Coast. He didn't create it in San Francisco. He created it when he was in Cincinnati. And
didn't know that.
And so, And so he was an assistant to Paul Brown with the Bengals. And he always, like, one of the things that he mentioned throughout this book, he had a phrase called beat him to the punch. So you're always aggressively calling something. Like, you're never sitting back waiting. And it was a ball control offense. And, they were known for operating well in the clutch. And he goes, you would think that we had all these kind of wait till the game's on the line, and then we're going to pull out what we really want to do.
Yeah.
No, we ran every play that we ran at the end of the game. We ran at the beginning of the game too. We did our job better than you did yours. That's it. And we practiced those situations in practice, like throughout the week and throughout training camp and throughout the year. And so they got good at being in those situations, just doing the ABCs of their own offense. Like, you all remember the catch, right? Like Joe Montana was throwing the ball away. No, he wasn't. Oh. That was sprint right, Z flat. So the receiver on the outside goes down, runs behind the back of the line, back of the end zone, comes back out. You could call it play on the 50-yard line. You could call it play on the 5-yard line. It's run the same way. And he wasn't throwing that ball away. That's a designed contingency of that play.
Wow.
I like it.
I do too.
I wish
we could do like that. Like there's a guy that when he took over had to defend his own offense. Like it was a little dink and dunk offense. Well, now guess every team runs some version of that offense.
Yeah, it's a copycat league.
But the principles of that offense are sustainable. So you can't copy a play here and a play there. You have to run that offense.
Yeah.
And that's what Andy Reid runs. That's what, I mean, they've all kind of mushroomed out, but the core of every offense these days is that West Coast offense.
Yeah, agree.
Well, it ain't working in Chicago.
It's not, because
it ain't working.
I'm not saying it always works. I'm not saying the guy pulling the trigger is always the right guy making the choices. And, you know, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is every team, the principles of that offense are run on all 32 teams.
Yeah.
It wasn't always that way.
You ever had aspirations of coaching in NFL?
You know, I coach. I had both of my sons played youth football, so I coached their teams. They were about 5 years apart. So I coached for 10 years in youth football, and we ran the offense that I ran at Pierce Junior College, and so we got pretty good. The first year, Coach Griffin's team, we didn't win a game. We scored one touchdown, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what have I got myself into?
Oh man!
But literally, by year 2 and year 3, we were on the other side of that coin, and then we were tough out at that point at both teams. And so I remember thinking back then, if I was coaching at a high school or college or pro, I wouldn't be putting in any more time than I'm doing right now. So when you to answer your question, Terrence, my goal in life at this point is to coach high school football. And the reason I say that is because when you're coaching in college and pro, your future is not dictated by you. Oftentimes, most times. And so you don't really hear a lot of times where a coach sits in one spot for 5, 10, 15 years. You know, you're kind of over here for a year or two before you get fired as a staff, or your head coach takes a job where you don't want to go, or, you know, you're constantly on the move. Whereas high school, to me, you get to, as long as you're successful, you get to kind of pick and choose where you want to go, which for me would be right in my own backyard.
Right.
Yeah, that's too bad, because I got a nice little high school coaching job here in little small town Watsika, Illinois, if you want to come in. We're looking for a coach here right now, but definitely not in your market, coach.
Well, if you knew someone out that lives near me, then I would listen to that for sure.
That's there. You don't want to come back to this place, man. It's far too cold.
You know what though? I didn't really mind the cold that much. You can dress for it most of the time.
Really?
Of the time when it's freezing, who spends a full day outside? Nobody. So you're always indoors somewhere. But I love living back there. And we lived up in Lake Bluff, which was about an hour north of downtown. But I just like that whole area, whether it's Libertyville, Vernon Hills, Buffalo Grove, you know, that whole area is great to me. And I go back there. I play in that Bears alumni golf tournament every year, which is normally in June. I'll usually come back for a game or two. Like I mentioned before, I was there with the 49ers game. And so, yeah, I mean, I love it back there. I go back to Chicago as much as I can.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're always going to be treated like a king whenever you're here.
I do remember one year.
Until we get a 4,000-yard passer, it's going to surpass you. But other than that, it's going to be you for a while. Yeah, next year, Justin might pass you next year.
I do remember, and he should, and I think he will and should. And I personally, I think he's the best quarterback the Bears have ever drafted. But I was going to say, there was a year when my kids were young where we were going to go back. I was going to take them back to the last game of the season. And I think it was against Green Bay. And I bought, plane tickets and knew where we were going to stay at the hotel and all that. And I got up in the morning and checked the weather back in Chicago. And I think it was like 1 degree. And I didn't bother getting the kids up.
Stay in bed. Stay in bed. I'm going to hang out in my
now, if they had
condo,
a dome, I'd have been there, I think.
Well, and that's something that has been actually talked about. So, what are your thoughts on the move to Arlington Heights?
I'll share those with you in a second.
Okay.
What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, I know.
I don't.
How
like
about we
it.
let Terrence go first? Because Terrence is he's the
I
most
don't-
candid about this.
I
He's the
do
one that
not
hates it.
like it. I said on the last podcast, I hate it.
Yeah.
And I especially hate it since I have season tickets. I don't want to drive all the way from the south side to Arlington Heights.
Right.
But I do think that it would benefit the Bears because they could build a lot of stuff around. They can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to make that drive all the way to Arlington Heights. So I guess for selfish reasons, I don't like the move.
I love the move, and I live an hour and a half south of Chicago, and I would still make that drive just because the fact you can have it in a dome, you can be comfortable. There are numerous of financial reasons why this makes sense.
Right.
You've got, you could host a Super Bowl, NCAA tournament. You
Right.
could literally have a casino there. You can have concerts all year round. The field is going to be far superior than what Soldier Field is now, because that's something I hear a lot of players talk about, that the field is one of the worst in the league. There's just too many positives for me, and maybe a price reduction because there are a lot more seats in there. Maybe the prices don't really skyrocket year after year after year because they are actually paying a $6.6 million rent fee for the park district every year. Instead, you can have a sponsor and make $6 million a year. So it makes a lot of sense to me.
Blah, blah,
I love it.
blah,
Yeah,
blah.
blah, blah. You have to drive WAN. Get
Blah,
over it.
blah, blah.
Get over
Fuck
it.
all that.
Get
It makes
over it.
great financial sense, of course. It would be nice to see the Bears in a new stadium, just like the year when they played at U of I when the spaceship was being built.
Yep.
Right.
Built. I mean, it didn't stop the fandom, right?
Right.
It didn't stop it. The only thing that I would caution, and the only thing I would say this is, we want to draw, right? That Super Bowl has to be like, hey, the minute we get that contract for that stadium, we got to have a Super Bowl like immediately, because that's the only thing we've never had here. You know, like we couldn't house it. So think about how great it would be to like that Super Bowl atmosphere, just like when we had NBA All-Star Weekend, although it was during the pandemic, like something like big made that coming to Chicago. I think that's volumes.
Yeah, and we could even have the Olympic Committee maybe look at Arlington Heights as a place for the Olympics coming up, because years past we had Chicago in the bidding, didn't happen. Why?
Yeah.
They could literally build an entire like mecca there. There's so much land out in Arlington. They could build around it. There's like 300 some acres that.
Hey, B, why do you even give a shit about all that?
Because I want this team to improve and get better in all
If
facets. Other
they
players are
get
going to
better,
see that.
That's great. I don't give a shit about all of that other stuff, man. I don't give a shit about that.
But some of that stuff brings new free agents and prospects. They're like, oh, wait, you guys got a new field.
That's true.
Better stadium. I can make a little bit more money because the salary cap, it's other things. It's not just as black and white as who do I want my coach to be, who my quarterback is. It's other things.
Because when you look at the Bulls, you attract free agents by having a nice stadium. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry, but I hate to bring up like the Odell Beckham situation, but for those Bears fans that thought we were going to get him, hey, we couldn't offer him California. Eric, you're there. We can't offer California. Like, come on.
And a winning football team for that matter.
Well, okay, so let me jump in this. So you mentioned Arlington Park. So you probably know that the Rams owner bought Hollywood Park.
Yes.
So Hollywood Park is now where SoFi sits.
Yes.
Right.
And it's a campus. It's not a stadium. So the NFL Network is now there.
Yep.
What they're building around it is nothing but hotels, shops. They're creating a bunch of jobs around there for that whole thing. So that's what I think the Bears have in mind with this Arlington Park. And, I
agree.
But here's to me the downside is that the Bears have the most unique location in the NFL with the stadium they've got now. The problem is that the old stadium, when you're on the field, you can see the skyline in the background. You can't anymore. You don't. Once you're in the stadium, you no longer feel Chicago when you're in it, and that's what I think they didn't forecast. So and didn't build into what they put up. That thinking anyway. So as a fan, if I've been going to Soldier Field since however long they've been playing there, yeah, I would be like Terrence. I'd be like, what are they doing? This doesn't feel right. If you look at it strictly from finance, and if the Bears get sold, the buyer, like the last team that got sold and purchased was the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
For a little over $2 billion. But we're talking about the only major market team that's ever going to get sold. And you got the promise of what's going to go in at Arlington Park, is it? Or Heights? Arlington Park?
Arlington Heights.
Arlington Heights. Okay. So you've got what's like, once they purchase that, now the plans are going up. And there's going to be a Super Bowl there. And there's going to be everything that's at SoFi Stadium is going to be there. Yep. Now, is it too far away from downtown? Because SoFi Stadium is right near the airport, and it's very close to downtown. I don't know if you're going to lose some of that with the Arlington Heights scenario.
Well, Arlington Heights is near. It's nearer to O'Hare than the stadium now, but it's far away from downtown Chicago.
Okay.
But I'm sure they will probably build like similar shit around the stadium in Arlington Heights, similar to downtown Chicago.
I mean, Eric, have you ever had to park at Soldier Field for a game?
Not that wasn't underneath somewhere, no.
Right.
Okay. Well, Eric, I will tell you as a fan, it is hell.
Right. I can imagine.
Absolute hell. It's not big enough. There's not enough room around there. That's the other thing about this is that there could be a whole tailgating experience to where you can have a whole lot with fans that didn't even buy tickets, that you could just have a giant tailgate party. You could have screens up. A lot of teams are actually doing that kind of thing now, and they're generating money doing it because they have, local bars around, vendors, stuff like that. They make a killing off of this. It is a no doubt win for this team if they move.
I got you. But with people like Terrence,
well,
you've got Bear fans, you're ripping their heart out.
For people like Terrence, there are 5 other ones who like it.
I got you.
That's why I don't think it's going to matter, because everybody at the end of the day, everyone's going to conform to it because it's our football team.
But see, Eric made a great.
Everybody's
going to exactly. So then, what's the like?
But if they're not winning, we're not going to conform to that.
But listen,
I don't know about that. There's only 17 of those games.
But listen, aesthetically speaking, like Eric just said, once you get in field level, the 2 draws, the skyline and the lake, you can't even see.
Gone.
The other draw was those same people complaining that they're not seeing the skyline and the lake are the same people that wanted that spaceship to be a dome, of which if it was a dome, you're not going to see the skyline or the lake anyway.
0.
So what is the point about complaining about what we can't see anymore when it wasn't going to be seen anyway?
I'll say this about so SoFi Stadium. So I'm now, for the first time in my life, a season ticket holder to anything. So I'm a season ticket holder to the Chargers, and I played my last season with them when they were in San Diego.
Yep.
But what they have is like, you wouldn't want to tailgate there either, because you want to get in the stadium, because like where my seats are underneath, there's a suite down there that's all the food and drinks you can want. Now, the food at this point is not what they advertise it to be, but I got a feeling over time it'll get better, and it has gotten better. But I think that experience of having that sort of campus with the stadium in it also has the potential anyway to be like, you with LA here, you've got however many millions of people, same with Chicago. And you're going to have people probably flying in from other places just to go to games. And I think that's going to create an atmosphere that currently might not be there. But like I said, with this, so I bought into the Super Bowl package too here because SoFi is going to be hosting it.
Yeah,
But
this year, right?
Yeah,
this year. But there's so many other things coming here that have nothing to do with football. And the World Cup they just got. There's as part of this package that I bought into, you get the right to buy Grammy tickets. And so it's kind of a cool, like, they really want to sell LA, right, to all the people in LA. And so that's another thing that comes out of this is you get people that are like-minded that want to see the city succeed in ways that maybe it hasn't, whether it's
they need that
they
right
work
now.
with I think this Champion LA deal, they work with about I think she said 500 nonprofits or something like that, like at least a couple hundred nonprofits. And like at Inglewood High School, which is right down the street, they have the NFL Network has a broadcasting program at Inglewood High School. Yeah.
Nice.
And so I'm talking, they brought in camera. They work with people that produced it, kids, high school kids at Inglewood that produced it, directed it, shot it with cameras. And now they want to do that. They want to, okay, what about narrative stories on players from Inglewood, players from other teams? And so there's ways to grow, into the community when you've got sort of a bubbling up where it's not just an exchange, a money exchange between the Bears and the Chicago Park District. When other people get involved, you kind of more good will be done for the city of Chicago and the surrounding areas. At least that's what's happening here.
Everyone's going to win. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I know you don't like it, Terrence.
I don't like it. But ultimately, if the Bears are winning, they move over there. The Bears are winning. It'll all go away. Then I'll like it, and then I won't care about making a long ass drive to Arlington Heights.
I think Eric's right. Like, it's going to increase
cost
fandom.
Too much, man.
It's going to increase fandom more than it's going to ruin fandom.
I don't have Erik Kramer money, so I can't Uber.
I completely agree with Eric.
We'll Uber pool. I'll share it with you.
Yeah,
right.
There you go.
There's that possibility too. But I think, like, did you guys ever see? It was a few years ago. I think it only ran for 1 year. I think it might have been on ESPN or NFL Network or something. It was called We the Fans.
I've heard of that. I never watched it though.
So it was a maybe. If it tracked around maybe 10 or 15 fans that were sitting in the lower section of the north end zone. I want to say it was section 150 or something like that. And so it kind of, these were the people like the nuts and bolts Chicago fans. Like, it wasn't a good season, like they weren't winning. And yet here's guys that, went to the same barber every week. Women that would paint their nails, Chicago Bear blue and orange. And it was just like, these are the people that live and die every single week and every day with the Bears. And that's Chicago. You have to count for that.
True.
You have to count for that mentality, because that mentality is not everywhere.
No.
I remember when the Bears were playing the Falcons. I think it was like in 2000 something. Anyway, Michael Vick was playing. It was cold as hell outside. It was like -9 degrees outside. I basically made my dad come to the game, and we were gonna sit outside. I told him to give up the tickets where we go sit inside with all the suit wearing people.
Right.
Where you go inside and you can drink your coffee and cross your legs and watch the TV. I said, give those up. We're going to go sit outside in the 9-degree weather or below 9 degrees. And we are going to watch Michael Vick play football against the Bears. And hopefully the Bears will win.
I remember that game.
Rex Grossman came in because I don't think he started that game.
That's the game that Vic was on the sideline the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
remember that game.
In front of the heater.
Brian Urlacher had him.
3 and out.
Brian Urlacher had his number his whole career almost.
But we are the real fans who go out there and freeze. There was a girl sitting next to me. She went in and got hot chocolate, came outside, and it froze in like 5 minutes. And my dad and I were laughing like, "Oh my God, look at that!" But those are fans. That is like.
So would you rather have that experience or have the experience of not having to wear a coat and watch a football game and you're comfortable? Because that's what they're offering you now.
That's for people in Minnesota. That's
like,
what Minnesota people do.
Exactly. Like fair weather is a fallacy nowadays. The league isn't really geared towards fair weather anymore. It's more geared towards a passing league. So why not get with the times and build a dome stadium, have some turf, have a passing team? Is that a concept that's so hard for us in Chicago? I mean, honestly,
I don't give a shit about that.
I mean,
it's time to change that narrative, guys. Like I'm just tired of the run the ball first, play
but I mean,
we've kind of stuff.
we've like, tried. We've had those years, you know.
We had Erik Kramer coming in, and that kind of stuff. As soon as they saw that progression, they should have kept that kind of like.
But you gotta remember,
going. But they always gear towards defense.
But you got to remember, it's always going to be geared towards defense because it's the calling card. It's what we hang our hats on.
Fair weather. That's because. But why exactly do we need to do that? That's what I'm saying here, JB. Like, why does that have to be what we are? Why can't we be something different?
In fairness, Eric's year, a couple of Cutler's years, to a lesser degree, when my man Jim Miller was here, that style of throwing the ball, airing it out, it has manifested. It just hasn't sustained. It's been brought up. I mean, come on, we had a running back with 100 catches.
101 catches, yeah.
We had Brandon Marshall back-to-back years. Marty Booker used to get 100 catches. Like, we've thrown the ball. It's just not sustainable. I mean, like,
I think
not to bring up any old times, but, like, I don't want to see Dave Craig back there throwing for 20 yards no more. I get it. I'm Eric, you're laughing, but you know I'm right. I don't.
He's not wrong. I mean,
I don't.
He's not wrong. No, he's not. So like, I just see having a guy like Justin Fields and building a new stadium like in Arlington Heights. You can start gearing this whole entire narrative towards the offense instead of the defense all the time. It's time to do it. We want someone to beat Eric's record, right?
Why can't we have both?
As much as we love you, Erik, I want to see somebody shatter your record by at least 1,000 yards, if not more.
Exactly.
I think we can have both. I think we can have both.
I hope we can, JB.
We've got the quarterback. We've got the running back. I mean, nowadays, aside from what the Rams did last year, which that's a total cheat code, by the way.
Like one of the greatest GMs of all time.
But you know,
hey,
man,
top
offense and top 5 defense. That hasn't happened too often to call it, a ritual. It's just something that when it happens, you got to take advantage of it right then and there.
Yeah. And that's what the Rams did.
And that's what we need to do.
So Erik, in this whole argument that we're having right now, say that Matt Nagy is fired. Do you see a guy that could come in here and maybe reinvent this offense towards Justin Fields?
Could you do it, Erik? Could you please?
Do you have anyone in mind that could maybe come in? Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
My mom just asked would you come coach. She literally
I will write a letter to Virginia McCaskey right
offensive
now.
Coordinator at least. Like, help get in here, man. Like honestly, like realistically though, like is there a coach out there right now that you see that you might be like, oh, that could be a guy that the Bears should probably go after, like a Brian Dable or an Eric Bieniemy or Ryan Day from Ohio State? That's the secret one that I keep throwing in there.
Right. I've heard Eric Bieniemy's name come up a bunch. Obviously, everybody has too. I think the one guy that just, as you're talking, I've never thought about this before until 5 seconds ago, but Lincoln Riley.
Okay. I've heard that one too.
And,
that's a good one.
And I'm, but I like Eric Bieniemy too. I don't know much about him, but they have a hell of an offense. But think about this. I was thinking about coming on today. thinking that, all the heat the Bears took for drafting Trubisky and moving up ahead of Mahomes and moving up ahead of Watson. Well, today, would you rather have Mahomes or Watson? I mean,
absolutely.
Really?
Ahead of Mitch Trubisky?
Really?
I would.
No. He
Mahomes,
said
yes.
He said,
you mean
Mahomes? Absolutely.
You'd rather have Deshaun Watson today.
Oh, I'm not saying that. No, Mahomes, yes. I'm saying Watson.
I see what you're saying.
Obviously,
If
no.
it was without the outside stuff, yes. Without the outside stuff, I would. But I see what you're saying.
You can't have them without the outside stuff. I'm talking.
You have to take the good with the bad. Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
No, you're
Eric's
right.
right. No, yeah.
Well, I think now, quarterback-wise, the Bears are sitting in the best of those three spots. The Bears are sitting in the best spot.
See, I still think Patrick Mahomes is still better. It's just their line.
You would take him right now?
Mahomes?
Yes.
Absolutely, I would take Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's more of a proven commodity
You know
at this
what?
point. Yes.
I
And
gotta rethink my
he's still young.
relationship with
You know, how everybody today,
Guys won a
like
Super
just
Bowl and went to
right
another and an MVP. Like
right off the tip of everybody's tongue, the GOAT is Tom Brady.
Absolutely.
Right.
No, he's not.
I knew you were going to say that too.
No, he's not. He's
You
not.
said
Who's the GOAT, Eric?
Everybody's tongue.
Hang on.
Media.
Who's the GOAT, Eric?
In my opinion,
It's Joe Montana.
it would be Joe Montana.
Yeah. See, when you say
Second,
that's
tip of
what I
everybody's
say.
tongue,
Hold on.
I'm thinking you're talking about
Second
media.
would be Steve Young. Somewhere down the road would be Tom Brady.
Whoa. Slow down, Eric.
I'm just saying.
Eric. So, okay. So, the reason why a lot of people say Tom Brady is the GOAT over a guy like Joe Montana is because of what was surrounded by Joe Montana, a Jerry Rice. He had Hall of Fame guys. Tom Brady, does he have a Hall of Fame wide receiver outside of Randy Moss, which he didn't win one with? No, he doesn't. He has
a wide receiver,
a Hall of Fame tight end. What about Joe Montana? How many Hall of Famers
running back? Well,
how many Hall of Famers did Joe Montana play with?
How many Hall of Famers?
Yeah, quite a bit.
I couldn't tell you. Let's get off who they played with, and let's get off let's watch how they play.
Well, yeah, but doesn't that matter?
It's not even close.
I agree, because think of it like this: those first 3 Super Bowls, those are Adam Vinatieri's Super Bowls. Those aren't Tom Brady's Super Bowls.
but
that's
the
that
next
defense. That's that.
But the next 3.
Well, those are 10 years apart too.
If we had a draft today, and all these guys were in their prime, and you took Brady, and I still had Joe Montana sitting there or Steve Young, let's go play.
Well, and I mean, also, Eric, doesn't it also matter? Like, they both had Hall of Fame coaches, right? They both had systems that weren't really the norm, I guess, at the time. So you got to wash that completely out, right? Like, you really can't put coaching into it because both coaches are Hall of Fame coaches. Like,
yeah, but here's the difference, though: is Belichick's a defensive coach.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Walsh was an offensive coach.
Yeah,
and if you look back at all the quarterbacks Bill Walsh ever drafted or coached, they're all some version of the same guy.
Yeah.
The first one Bill Walsh points to is the guy that replaced Greg Cook, which I can't remember what the guy's name who replaced him is, but they're all that guy. They're all Joe Montana.
Yeah.
They're athletic, not a great strong arm, but accurate, can anticipate. And it's the art of the 5-yard throw and the 15-yard run after the catch. That's the offense.
And if you look at Bill Belichick, he just got Mac Jones, who is basically essentially like a mini Tom Brady.
Right.
So,
and I get it. I'm just saying, like, if I know health-wise, Montana wasn't able to stay healthy that long, not even close. But like I said, if I was starting a team and you had the first overall pick and you picked Tom Brady, I'd be like, great, let's go.
But longevity, though, wise, I am going to trump you because I have Brady for a longer period of time.
I agree with you.
So doesn't longevity really help that cause? that the fact that he is 44 and he's playing some of his best football
Wait a
ever
minute.
and is probably going to win another championship
his
this year?
40s.
It in your mind, it helps your cause.
It
doesn't
does.
help-
You're right.
Right. So
You're
I
100%
don't
right.
happen to agree with you.
Okay.
Because we're talking
Fair.
how you play the position. When Montana's at his best and when Brady's at his best, it's not close.
Yeah, that's one game. But what I'm saying is that over
No,
a
that's not one
longevity
game. That's
of
every game.
Yeah, but when not every game, because someone that does it for a longer period of time should be considered better because of that fact,
But you
right?
know what? Let's switch sports. That argument gets faded when you talk about LeBron and Michael Jordan. Then just because LeBron has played longer and is going to accumulate all
But
the
how many
stats, that
championships
doesn't make
has
him
LeBron
better.
won compared to Michael Jordan?
But he's
He
been
hasn't
to-
won more than Michael Jordan,
But he's
has
been
he?
to 10.
But he hasn't won more. Brady
No,
has
but I'm just
won
saying,
more than Michael Jordan.
I'm playing
He's won
devil's
more than
advocate right
Montana.
here because
I understand what you're saying, though.
right,
Yeah,
but that's the
I
only
do.
thing to like Eric's point. Like if Joe Montana had played longer or was able to, Joe Montana probably would have had all the records.
But he didn't.
Let me
he
just say
didn't.
this, Alan. When you watch, or when I watch, how that position gets played, the footwork involved, the way you read coverages, the way you look people off, the way all with the entire escape pressure, throw on the run, it's not close.
I understand that part, yeah.
And so
throwing on the run, especially, like,
but I mean,
Joe
just
Montana was a magician.
The entire package. So that guy executed like no one I've ever seen, and I at least, that's never going to change. I don't care who I watch in the future. The one guy that I would say was initially on that track would be Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, which he still got.
But
a lot
that's
of
not the
football,
case
but
right
no,
now.
No, it's
Not
not.
just right now, because absolutely. So I'm just curious. Give me your top 5. Is Brady, and we're talking about not rings, just like you said, playing the quarterback position. Can you name 3 more before you get to Brady?
Please, Eric, don't break my heart by answering this top 5 the wrong way, because I feel like you're about to break my heart.
Well, I'm just one guy. How am I going to break your heart saying
Because you're going to say a name
just
that's
down
going to
the street.
upset me, and
So-
I think I know the name you're going to put in there.
Let's just say
Just
this.
by the way that you really talk about the guys that you like, I have a feeling you're going to bring up a name that I'm not going to be happy with. So
Okay, let's hear.
please proceed. Sorry.
In no particular order, I'll say Steve Young, Joe Montana, Brady would be in there. I mean, that's 3 so far.
Yep. The next 2 I'm worried about.
I think Aaron Rodgers would be in there.
All right, guys. I knew you were going to say Aaron Rodgers. Just the way that you talked about quarterbacks, I'm like,
okay,
I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers.
I want him to finish.
And let me throw the one future name in there that today you wouldn't put in, but I think will be there. Justin Fields.
What about Peyton Manning?
What about Dan Marino?
Okay, first of all, Peyton Manning threw the ball sideways, and right?
Oh my God!
And,
yeah, he did.
I mean, yes, great quarterback, non-athletic. I mean,
you really like those athletic type.
And I'm not
scrambling
even
outside.
athletic myself.
No, you're not. That's why I was so surprised by your answer with this.
My footwork became really much better over the years by watching what other people do. And the other guy that I would put in there as a wild card would be Warren Moon.
Warren Moon was great.
He never won a Super Bowl, but he ran the run and shoot pretty much his entire career until he went to Minnesota, where he ran the West Coast passing game under Denny Green. And the guy is phenomenal.
Yeah, he was.
So I don't know. That would,
Wow.
So I am surprised you didn't say
a different list.
What about Dan Marino?
Dan Marino's kind of
that's what I forgot. So yeah,
and Elway. I mean, Elway was a runner.
Here's the thing about Marino, though, that I don't really know him, but it's almost, I got the feeling by watching him this is what I have no internal knowledge of this, but it just seemed like it was his team to run.
Yeah.
And because of that, they never reached maybe where they could have. And it wasn't like he had a ton of talent either around him. Would Mark Duper have been Mark Duper on another team, or Mark Clayton, or Benny
They never had a
Malone,
running back.
or right? So I mean, yeah, I don't know. I would have to put him up there for sure, just because of he literally changed the game overnight.
He did
in 1984. So
and a John Elway.
How about Elway?
There's another one you could put up. Sure. I mean, he grew up locally here.
Drew Brees,
Bernie Kosar.
Yeah, I had said Drew Brees because, like, you
a lot of
talk about
people think
somebody
Drew
who didn't
Brees.
have athleticism. It wasn't no strong arm,
Not shortest guy in the field.
Short.
Right.
The great overachiever.
So if I would go on I'm 6 feet 6'1", I should go with Drew Brees. So there's another guy that you could put in that, but I don't think he amassed a lot of statistics and won a Super Bowl. But I don't think he quite changed the game.
No, not by no means.
Where somebody like, Steve Young did, Joe Montana did, and
I don't know, because he did. Doesn't he have the record for the most 5,000-yard seasons? He's got like 4 of them, 3 or 4.
Who's that? Drew Brees?
Yeah, that's like the
That's
one.
what I mean. Like he's a massive statistics,
and he did that in a different era. JB, like, could you imagine Joe Montana playing in this era?
Right,
he throw for 5,
easy.
Like back when Steve Young had that season in '94, right, where they won the Super Bowl, and he was the only guy, by the way. He was the only guy that threw 70%. Now you got all these guys throwing the shotgun little touch pass to the jet sweep guy. That's a catch.
Yeah.
And you got all the receiver screens that are now part of everyone's playbook. They didn't have those all back then. It got the little smoke route where you just stand up and throw to the guy, that doesn't even move.
Then you had to actually throw the ball.
And now half the league is over 70%. It's a different game. And now you can't really touch the quarterback. Like literally can't.
True.
And anyway, different game.
So I'm glad that you said that, Eric. I'm glad that you said that, because I want to go back to AB, talking about, you mentioned Joe Montana playing in this era. So let's flip the script. Tom Brady playing in that era. Does he have the same longevity at that point? Because back then, they hit motherfuckers, man.
Oh, he'd have got popped.
They hit people.
And his system, I mean, would his system be the exact same? Obviously, it wouldn't. Would he have the same caliber wideouts? No, he wouldn't.
So I'm glad you said that.
I understand what you're doing.
How is he the GOAT?
I know where you're going.
Because
he still did it. Like there's no way that you can really sit and just like really compare an era to another era like that. And
it's like a LeBron James, Michael Jordan.
It's more like a Wilt Chamberlain against a Shaq, because Wilt Chamberlain back in the day, he was the biggest guy around. He was doing everything. He was getting 100-point, 50-point games.
He could do free throws though.
He was going up against plumbers. Like he wasn't going up against top tier talent. Like there's a difference. But in this argument, I can, because the longevity of him and his sustainability of excellence is higher and longer than a Joe Montana. Maybe at a peak, I want the guy who's going to give me the most championships, right? For me,
I mean, of course we do, but
be Tom Brady.
But something to be said, like Eric said, he just said it. Back then, it was a totally different game.
Yeah, it's something that we'll never know.
You won't, but even kind of like, if you remember, look how many rules they've created just because of Tom Brady.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The tuck rule, no diving at the knees rule,
which
you can't hit him up.
The tuck rule would have taken away one Super Bowl.
The having the football inflated the entire game
before, and now it's not even a part of the league.
Yeah.
Yep, like you said, deflate gate.
And it was a pass, by the way.
So if you even,
not a
and
pass,
yes,
but a fumble.
you're 100% right. 100% right. But if you take that away, he still got the same amount of Super Bowls as
I
Joe
got
Montana.
it. And he's a great, I'm telling you, he's a great
And
quarterback.
he might win one more this year.
And in your mind, he's the greatest of all time, as he is in a lot of people's minds.
Absolutely.
Just not mine.
Yeah, and that's a fair thing. Yeah, that's fair. That really goes back to, just like JB said, like a LeBron versus Michael Jordan thing. In my eyes, it's always going to be MJ, no matter what. I don't think anyone could ever sway me on that just because of his impact on the league and what he did.
I'm going to say that because I'm a Chicago.
You're going to say it because you're a homer. I'm going to say it because I'm a homer. But if you look at it really, the way that he did change the game, no one's ever done that since, and no one isn't. There's a reason why there are people still, 20 some years later after Jordan played, are still buying Jordans. It's still the number one shoe. There's a reason for it. He transcended the game. He will always be the GOAT. But with the Tom Brady, Joe Montana thing, it's going to be harder for us to really debate because, we can't have Joe Montana in this era. And you might be right. He might come in this era and just blow Tom out of the water. But we're never
without being touched, absolutely. But then in that, that's going to
especially without being touched.
Yeah, that's going to lead you to, But wait, that's going to lead you to this question too. Remember, Tom Brady has always had some of the top talent on one side of the ball or the other. He's always had one of the greatest offensive lines. You put Tom Brady behind that Bears line in that Cleveland game, Tom Brady going to look real Justin Fieldish.
He's going to be in an ambulance.
Probably not as good.
He's going to be in an ambulance leaving, and he's going to be going to the hospital. That's what's going to happen. Especially
so he's had a lot of favor over these 20 years. And like I said, I think he's a great quarterback. He's going to go down with all the records and everything. But even with this new crop, like you said, with the Mahomes, the Josh Allens, to a lesser degree, the Lamars, the Russells, like they're coming.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming.
So then we're going to have the same argument later.
Kyler Murray, right?
Yeah, Tyler, absolutely.
He just has to stay on the field, really.
Man,
but we're going to have that argument later about those guys because, they had a whole extra game every year. They didn't get hit, We're going to have that argument another 10, 15 years from now about these guys, right?
I'll tell you
but I'm just saying,
if Tom Brady had to take the hits that Justin Fields has been taking, his ass will be out of the league.
No way. No way. But he had a coach like Bill Belichick, and he had Drew Bledsoe ahead of him who had a pretty decent line, which is why he could come in and have that success like a Mac Jones kind of does, like he has the same pieces around him that Brady almost had. And that's why he's having that success.
Build a line.
You have to build a line. You have to.
Yep.
Keys to success. Build a line.
Got to have the big boys up front.
Yes.
I think Terrence is trying to talk, but he's burping or something.
Yeah, I was.
You're like,
I just drank one of these coffee.
I was like, you all right, buddy?
Yeah, I was trying to talk and belch at the same time.
Well, let's not do that.
Please no.
Erik, this has been awesome, man. I'm so glad that you came on the podcast. We had a chance to talk to you. Yeah. And you're looking good, man.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Great.
Really good to see you. Really good to see you, man. So
I really appreciate that.
Hopefully you'll come back and we'll have more good Justin Fields talk.
We need to get you on one of these Tuesday night shows because that's when we get real crazy on here.
All right.
Yeah.
We're kind of laid back on Saturday. On our Tuesday shows, we don't hold back much. We just
I love it.
Fly.
Yeah.
So you are always welcome with us. Absolutely.
Definitely.
All right.
Sooner than later, please.
I'm in. Yep. You got me.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to be in contact with you then.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thanks a lot, Erik. All right.
You guys be good. Okay.
All day. Thanks, Erik.
Take care.
Wow. Great guy, man.
Yeah, man. Awesome guy. Awesome guy. And yes, actually, I said arguably the best quarterback that the Bears have ever had, but
he is.
Yeah, no argument. No argument. He is the best quarterback.
Some people like to argue Jay Cutler.
Yeah, and that's cute and everything, but
It's all right.
nah. I mean, Jay Cutler broke a few records, and he was a tough guy.
Well, this is something. Honestly, Terrence,
Yeah.
I'm glad you just said that, because this is a question that we should have asked him, because we were talking about if Joe Montana would have played in this era. What if Erik Kramer would have played with the team that Jay Cutler had with a Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey,
Super
Martellus
Bowl.
Bennett,
And without getting hit.
without getting hit as much?
Super Bowl.
That would have been a great conversation.
Yeah.
to have.
No. Hey, look, it's
But
okay.
when he
Why
comes
didn't
back,
think about that?
when he
Why
comes
didn't
back.
when he
think
comes
about
back,
that? As soon as you said the Jay Cutler thing, I was like, oh my God, we should have asked him about that.
when he
But-
comes back, we're gonna ask him all the questions that we did not ask today because it's Saturday.
We got a laundry
people
list.
kind of slow.
We're kind of slow.
Yeah. Saturdays are usually kind of
Eye rubbing, waking up.
Exactly.
Coffee shop, not barbershop.
It's a laid back, yeah. It's a
People going to-
laid back Saturday.
people going to
Hangover
do
Saturday, right?
People going to do shit with their children.
Yeah.
But speaking of Saturdays,
Oh yeah.
next Saturday, should I wait until the end of
Don't you
the
damn wait.
podcast?
You scream it from the mountaintops all week.
So, hey,
You don't let it fly, man.
Let it fly.
Let it go.
I'm gonna let it fly. Next Saturday, wake y'all asses up.
You have to.
We have a hero coming in here on Saturday. Lance motherfucking Briggs.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back. Lance motherfucking Briggs.
And again, I'm gonna do that. Every time you say it, I might do that. Just because it's that amazing, man.
So y'all gotta wake y'all asses up. Y'all gotta show up and show out. I
You too,
want to see
Terrence.
people asking shit in the chat. I want people to be involved.
You
I'm
too,
gonna
Terrence.
give you a link. It's good. Huh?
I'm gonna keep saying it. You too, Terrence.
Oh yeah,
I want you in bed at 9:30 Friday night.
I'm
I
gonna
don't.
wake my ass up.
I want
I'm
you
gonna
sleep.
I don't know
early.
about 9:30. I'm gonna be so excited, man.
I
I'll be
know,
so
right?
like a
excited.
kid on Christmas.
Man. I
Hey,
am
what
too.
time is that pod? What time is that pod?
I think
11?
it's either at I think it's at 11. Yeah.
You need to change it to 1. That'd be super great if you did, but if you don't, whatever. It's Lance Briggs.
It's Lance.
We're gonna
Briggs.
do
I
whatever
will
he
get
wants
up at
us to
9
do.
o'clock in the morning. Shit, we got up for
I'll do a
Warren
3
Sapp.
a.m. pod on that. I don't care if it's Lance Briggs. I will talk to him anytime.
Shit,
I'm
people got
dying
up.
to wait for
People
that.
got up for Warren Sapp. I love Warren. He's
I do too.
he's HOFer.
Yep.
But we have someone who could be an HOFer,
Should be.
but he was like a hero in Chicago.
Yep.
So y'all got to get y'all asses up, me included.
Yep.
So that's gonna be a great show, and that's Saturday. But Tuesday we got a great podcast too.
I mean, that's
my
every
God,
week
I'm so
almost. I
fucking
mean,
excited.
So
So
no. When do we not have a great pod? Everybody need to start checking
mean,
us out.
it's hard to not. Like
That's
we are literally one of the best kept secrets out there right now with podcasting. I'm telling you, we got people no one else has. I'm just gonna say it.
Damn,
Advantage
man,
people.
you just said it.
I'm sorry. I am.
Why?
I listen to a ton of podcasts, guys. They don't have the people we have. I'm just being honest. Like, yes, a lot of those guys are great, but we have great guests. We have great times here, man. I feel like we're on that precipice, Terrence. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, you might
Yeah.
be right. You
I'm
might
the
be
cocky
right.
one today, apparently, not
Yeah.
you. Usually it's you chiming off at the bit, but
I'm not
it's me.
mad at it either.
I mean, I'm just being honest, guys. Like, we have great shows lined up for you guys all month. Saturdays on
Put that
Tuesdays.
up what John just said.
I only watch 2 podcasts.
That's
there.
my man,
And
John
this is one.
Santino. That's my dude.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John.
That is my dude.
I hope the other one is
appreciate you,
our
John.
other show, Bears Fans
We
with the Brain, on
appreciate you,
Thursdays.
bro. What'd you say?
I said, I hope the other one is our other show, Bears Fans with a Brain, on Thursdays. Probably not, but I just want to shameless plug that one.
Watch that one too. Watch that one too.
Watch them all.
That's,
we have a
that's
new
a
one
good
on.
too.
We have a new one on Wednesdays too. Ladies podcast. It's going great. CJ Scott podcast on Mondays. It's going great. Just started, guys.
Almost every
we
day.
have
So
some
that's
network
4
stuff coming.
podcasts. I know you only watch 2, John, but you know,
Better
maybe
change
you
it to
can
4.
extend it to 6.
4 at least. 4 for now.
Get rid of your cable. You don't
get
even
him up
need
to
cable,
that.
man.
Oh yeah, most certainly, man. Love it though.
So I said,
who's on the show Tuesday?
Tuesday. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I'm asking you to tell
only
them.
one of the best defensive tackles we have ever had. And we could have won a Super Bowl.
And I wasn't here when you talked to him, so I'm excited about this one.
He said, "What's cable?" Yes, John. What's cable?
Damn right. What's cable?
When you got the Chicago Clubhouse podcast, fuck cable. But yeah, the best defensive tackle we've ever had. I mean, we've had some good ones. I don't want to diss the other ones we've had, like Mongo.
My favorite coming.
But with this one, we could have won the Super Bowl. In what year was that? 2006?
5-6.
Oh, 506.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, some of y'all might already know who I'm talking about, but if you don't, I'm talking about Tommy Harris.
Tommy Harris, baby. Let's go. Let's go. I've been excited about Tommy Harris since the day they drafted him, and I watched him just do that, just killing it. I'm like, this guy's going to be special. God, I hate that he got hurt so much.
Man.
But he was a force in the middle.
Definitely.
Force, man.
Definitely, man. And we could have won that Super Bowl had he not been hurt. But, well, shit happens. Shit happens, man. But we're going to talk to him a little bit about that. We're going to talk to him about this current Bears team. I don't know. It's always something in the Chicago Clubhouse podcast. So y'all need to stay tuned, man. Stay tuned. But shit. It's what time is it now?
Let your friends know. It's 3:04.
It's 3:04. So we aren't gonna take up the rest of your afternoon.
I'm gonna be sitting on my ass the rest of the day. What's
JB
it looking like
already
outside?
let us know.
Still horrible.
JB already let us know he ain't got shit to do.
I'm gonna get cabin fever real soon.
Hey, well, I don't get that. I'm a homebody, so
yeah, so am I. But I can only be home so much.
Hey, look here. When you got stuff on TV, PS5, the little one.
You got a PS5?
Man, I've been had a PS5, man. Come on.
I'm a Xbox guy myself, but
that's okay. I still love you. It's all right.
I actually just started this. I got a computer game that I'm just started. It's insane. It's like it's gonna take me like a year just to figure out how to play it. It's like so advanced. It's crazy. Yeah, it's some of the games they make now. It's like it's like a strategy game, but it's like Risk mixed with like Game of Thrones. Like like you're like a ruler of like one area, and it's like the whole European Asia's all there, and you like have to try to conquer stuff, and you have like a council, like just like Game of Thrones type stuff, and like a lot of people like screw you over. You get married and have kids, and then when you die, you become your kid because he's your heir. And then you got to do it again and again. It's nuts.
Keep you going.
I had to have something to do all winter, so it's sports and video games, I guess.
So y'all want to get to some quick shout outs?
Yeah,
we can get the hell out of here
for sure.
All
I'm gonna start. Erik Kramer, my God, great job, sir. Amazing job. So many more questions I wanted to ask. So many more questions we all wanted to ask.
And like I said,
but we were all a little slow this morning because it's a Saturday. Y'all know how that goes. But he was great. He had great insight. He knows what he's talking about. We're going to help him get a coaching job.
Yeah. I'm going to write a letter to Virginia McCaskey
because he knows what he's talking about.
Even if he just wants to come on as a QB coach, quality control guy. Get him in this organization. We need all the help we can get. That guy's got a knowledge that like no other. Love his energy. Man, again, shout out to Erik Kramer.
He will be getting a phone call or something from us whenever we start doing our tape sessions, hopefully next year. And I would definitely love to get his insight on what he thinks about plays and how plays are broke down and stuff like that. Erik is a great dude, and thank you for coming, Erik. You fans, always. Big shout out to this guy, John Centino. Thank you for that comment, sir, by the way, because that was amazing as usual. My buddy Frank Marshall from Bears Fans with a Brain in here. He was a massive big fan of his too as well. And we have this new guy who's been kind of creeping in a little bit. His name is Pig Dog Video 2001. He was on with us on the Thursday show too. And the guy's got a lot of good questions, and he's been really engaging lately in our shows. Thank you for that. But guys, y'all just don't compare to Mama. Mama's always going to be P1A1 number one in my heart, in our hearts. Thank you, Mama, as usual. And to you guys, amazing job. Thank you for letting us be in your home. You guys, thank you for having me in here with one of my childhood heroes. I was trying not to fanboy out.
No, you did good. You did real good.
I thought I did all right. In the beginning, I was kind of like, hey, oh my God, Erik this, Erik that. Like, I was excited to talk to him. I have 1,000 more questions I would have wanted to ask him, but thank you for letting me be on here with you guys. It's a great time as always, man. That's it for me, I guess. And also, shout out to drinking at 3 p.m.
So I'll go next. Exact same shout outs as always, AB, me and you. Shout out to, you guys, because everybody knows that team is everything, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't have another team. I wouldn't dare ask for another team.
Damn right.
Shout out to the team. Shout out to the squad.
Right.
And shout out the Bears fans that continue to support us. Even those that have not chimed in, but I know personally that are watching, that replied to me and said they were going to tune in. I thank you guys. Feel free to go ahead and chime in. We love to hear from everybody. You can count if you don't feel like comfortable getting on the screen, send a comment, send a text. We'd love to hear from you. And that's it.
Wow, short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
All right, well, mine is not going to be so short and sweet.
Oh, yeah. And also, I had one more. Shout out to Cassius. Shit, I just forgot his name again. Cassius Marsh. He got fined by the NFL. They already got a GoFundMe for him. Last time I checked, it was up to like close to $100 already. Yeah, like somebody actually put it in my group, and I found it. It was like $60 or $70, but
really?
Apparently people are gonna help this cat out.
Time. Foul on the play.
Hang on. Okay.
They actually fined him for staring.
They did. They fined him.
That's crazy as fuck.
But they're not gonna fine the ref for that hip check.
That's exactly what I posted on the Bears Fans with a Brain group. Like I was like, what in the hell is this? So they fined him. Let me get back to it here. They fined him $5,972, and the dude's like $125K player.
Wow.
Where'd the fuck you go?
AB, where'd you go?
AB, you just got tired of talking to us?
Whoops. My mouse, that you click it on the back, it sends you back, and they clipped it. But yeah, fined him basically $6,000 for it. And
so I'm gonna say this to Roger Goddale.
Yeah, you're damn right on that God part.
Because this is ridiculous. You know what? I want Tony Correnti fined in. Like,
I think that should be
that
fined for just letting
referee.
it go.
No, he should. First of all, that whole crew needs to sit down a week or so. Like, seriously.
A year.
Seriously. Because when they go back and they do those reviews,
never come back. I'm fine with it. Or
That's
just let him
terrible.
coach Packer games.
But the minute you accidentally bump a ref, and I'm talking about like you turn around and he's there, oh man, something's wrong. Orlando Brown, a referee years ago, threw a flag and it blackened his eye and almost cracked his orbital socket. And he pushes the ref like, look, dude, look what you did to my eye. He gets suspended and fined. But a ref goes out of his way to find a way to get in Cassius Marsh's direct line of path, and we throw a flag, and now we fine him?
Well, supposedly, according to what he said to the league, he was going to throw the flag anyway, and what happened didn't have any effect on that. Like he was planning on doing it anyway. So like he had his hand over by it and was holding it there and just kind of waited till after the fact, I guess. We all know as human beings he was being reactory. I guess that's not the right word, is it?
Reactionary.
Reactionary. Thank you, JB. Like he was being reactionary as a human being. And then he can go back and say that. And it's all good, though, because he just gets away with murder. But if it goes the other way and the referee is running and the player did that and bumped him like that,
absolutely,
you know damn well he wouldn't be playing.
And we can
that
go.
fine would have been a lot more.
There's this thing on video that we can do. It's called counting.
Yeah.
How many seconds before you look at the crowd, didn't say anything, right? Then you're walking back. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. If he was going to throw that flag, he had ample opportunity.
Yeah,
ample opportunity. That's like some Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas mess that we don't need to get into right now. But that's bull. And Tony Corinthians, shame on you.
I just wish Cassius would have like whenever Roquan went up and like he was patting him and like trying to like
he should have just walked off together.
To him, he should have turned around and acknowledged his teammate first of all and celebrated with his teammate. That would have completely got rid of that. Yes, he was kind of looking at him like, hey, y'all got rid of me. Look what I'm doing. I'm sacking your quarterback.
Exactly.
But it's not like he said anything toward Aaron Rodgers can go run for a touchdown and cuss out a fan, but this guy can stare at a bench and he gets flagged and fined. Give me a break.
That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. But I'm going to
sorry to jump off that. Terrence, I just had to throw.
I'm gonna go ahead and finish my shout outs. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see my man CJ that has the podcast on Monday. Y'all make sure y'all check that out.
Most definitely.
I know it's a tough sell against Monday Night Football, but take a break. Take a break.
Monday Night Football's not always that good every week. Anyway, a lot of times it's a lot of horrible teams that aren't that good.
It's like the battle of the busters sometimes. Make sure you check out CJ on Monday, CJ and Diop. And then as AB said on Wednesday, it's the ladies podcast. She said what she said. Make sure you check that one out. The last guest they had was Tandra Hazel. He was the husband, or he is the husband of the late Diane Durham. She was an artistic gymnastics legend. So make sure you go check that one out.
Should be a Disney movie.
It should be. It should be.
I listened to that interview. That's a powerful ass interview.
Yeah, it really was.
I couldn't believe some of the stuff I heard out of him.
But on Tuesday, Chicago Clubhouse podcast with the best dudes I know on this podcast, AB and JB.
Whoa, what? I don't know about the best.
The best dudes I know.
I'm like average.
Sometimes I need to tell AB to be quiet.
You gotta tell me to shut the hell up once in a while.
But
I get excited, guys. I'm sorry. This is
these
part
are
of who
the
I
best
am.
two dudes that I could be on the podcast with. So shout out to you guys.
Most definitely.
Shout out to y'all. But on Tuesday, y'all gotta watch the Chicago Clubhouse podcast, especially this Tuesday with Tommy Harris. All right, so I'm gonna leave that shout out at that.
Hey,
I'm just gonna throw this up for JB real quick.
Thank you, sir. I needed that. I needed that.
So
right
they have the ball on their own 16-yard line, and they're gonna trot down the field.
What's that? Some Michigan State shit.
Yeah.
I need that, especially since
I'm just
Oklahoma
letting my
just lost.
brother know what's
Blah,
going on.
blah,
I'm just
blah.
letting my brother know what's going on with his favorite team.
Blah,
That's all.
blah,
His alma mater.
So I was saying, everybody.
He's so mean. He's
I
so
was
mean
saying
to us,
everybody in the chat, but also people that didn't say anything in the chat, the lurkers. We appreciate y'all too. You know, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. John, CJ, Mama, Sweaty Zon, or I don't
Sweaty
even know.
Xenon? Is that what it says?
Sweaty Xenon, I guess.
Sweaty Xenon used to be in here a lot, but hasn't been lately. But apparently, Sweaty Xenon showed up a little late today, so you'll have that. So you should just go back on YouTube, or you could just go back and watch us talking with Erik Kramer.
Exactly.
And he said sweaty.
Sweaty.
Sweaty. Okay.
No, I guess he said not sweetie. Not sweetie.
No, definitely not sweetie.
So wait a minute, guys. I have to say this too. Where the hell is Bullets?
I've been wondering.
Man, I've been wondering that too.
Let's park the damn car real quick.
Man,
you gotta put an APB out for Bullets, man.
We need to I feel like ever since Terrence went to California, he hasn't been on as much. So Terrence, did you say something to him when you were out in Cali? Did you offend him or something?
No communication.
Where you been, man?
No communication whatsoever.
He was our P1A2.
Yeah.
Mama was A1. He was A2.
I remember he said something about his work schedule had got a little hectic, but maybe we got to check in with him offline.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. And send him the podcast so he knows what's going on, because maybe he just doesn't know what's going on because he's busy. People have lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they do.
I don't, but
also gotta shout out LEC, the League of Extraordinary Chicagoans. Gotta shout them out. They doing some phenomenal things.
They're about ready to do a lot of things.
Yeah,
probably put some work in.
You gotta check their shows out. Yep. Go to League of Extraordinary Chicagoans Twitch page and check that out. Gotta shout out SportsZone Chicago. They also carry our podcast, but they have a lot of phenomenal shows too.
Yeah, they do.
Sean and Maya in the morning being one of them. So you got to go check them out. The Smoke Fellas. Moore's Beer. Gotta shout out Moore's Beer. Definitely. Raise your standards. Go get you some.
I had to shout out Bud Light because that's all I had today. I don't have Moore's Beer, so I had to drink some BL. And I got some Crown Peach in the fridge. I might bust out some of that later.
Now, wait a minute, that's not bad.
I am loving Crown. So, one of the grocery stores we have in town sells it for like $30 a fifth, and I'm like, oh, I might go grab some of that. So I did. I went and got a fifth. I was like, yeah, I think I might make that by Saturday.
Do you drink it straight, or you put a little something with it?
I can drink it straight.
You drink that on the rocks.
I like it on the rocks. I like taking shots. Sometimes I drink it with Sprite.
I was gonna tell you, put a little ginger ale in it. It'll change your life. It'll change
ginger ale. Okay.
It's life changes.
I'm not like a big ginger ale guy, but I'll give it a shot. I mean, I'll try anything.
It made it taste like a peach Bellini.
Oh shit! Okay, all right.
And you know those are good.
I do.
Oh,
I'm okay with that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like 7 Up, Sprite. I tried a Mountain Dew. Actually, wasn't that bad either.
Damn basketball.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
And before I forget,
I got a big old bump in the bottom of my middle finger. Right
we
there.
have a real live all-star in here.
Yeah, me.
Which we will touch more on Tuesday. No, not you, AD. Not you, dog.
I gotta get a laugh sound for it too. I don't have one. I gotta get one.
We talking about this quarterback on the bottom of the screen here.
Oh, this we gotta. Yes,
all-star.
Yes, he is. I wish I would have got that overlay. Oh, we'll talk about that on
Well,
Tuesday.
on Tuesday, we going to get more into it. I'm just missing
I
that.
will make sure to throw up that that little photo that you sent in the group. I'll make
Hey,
sure.
Tom Brady's not the only
Tom
44-year-old getting it in.
44 motherfucking years old. That is crazy, man. That is crazy. You out there playing with all these 20-something-year-old men.
You're killing them. You're killing them, man.
Tell you something. And
showing them what to do. Yep.
We cannot forget about B. B is like all-star MVP.
Yes, he is.
We got 2 MVPs on our network.
How old is
be in a 24, 5, 6.
She young.
Wow.
I mean, not that takes away anything, but yeah. So we got 2 all-stars.
I wish I was around you guys. I would totally just do that like a weekend or 2. Just try to play and go break my hip. Oh, hang on, guys. Hang on.
I might
cramp.
So if I start a team, AB, you want to be on it?
I'd have to. I would miss every single Bears game though.
No.
I'll do it after the Bears season.
I'd have to drive. Okay.
You would do the spring season,
like
so
a spring or summer league.
Yeah, it doesn't conflict with football.
I wouldn't do it now.
Is JB playing with us? Can we have like a
That's his
CCP
team, man? I don't think he gonna leave his.
Why don't we get a CCP team? And why don't we just bring all of JB's guys over and just make a CCP team? Why don't we just do that? And I don't even have to play. I'll just coach and be like, all right, JB, do whatever you feel like. I'm going to have a beer on the sideline while y'all just kill it.
You will be a Phil Jackson.
I could be a Phil Jackson.
You ain't got to do shit. You just, okay, go do what you do.
Run the triangle. Go. Run the triangle, MJ. All right, get out of here. Rodman, stop getting in trouble.
Just don't say that S word, because I'm mad at him right now.
Who S? What?
What's the guy's name that starts with an S, ends with a P?
Oh, yeah.
Don't say that guy's name right now.
He's
on CCP punishment.
He needs to figure his life out right now. He needs to stop trying to throw people.
I just told you not to say it, man.
Yeah. He's trying. He literally just said, "Don't say it," and you're like, "Scotty." You just came out right with it, man. You don't even hold back.
Oh man.
But no, man. Yeah, that's.
I wish
bad liquor. Come on, man.
I wish we could get.
Is the liquor bad?
Terrence said it wasn't worth $70.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, but Terrence,
it's not terrible.
You have any liquor that is worth $70?
Yeah, it's not terrible.
I have, absolutely.
Not you, JB.
Oh,
I'm asking Terrence. Terrence, is there any liquor worth $70? There's a reason I'm asking this question.
Any liquor worth $70?
Yes, a bottle of liquor worth $70 to you.
A fifth worth $70?
Yes.
There is a Japanese. There is a Japanese whiskey.
Oh, so there is one.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear you say that there was one, because you do come off kind of cheap when it comes to that kind of shit. Like you don't want to pay that for that kind of
I will pay it if I think it's worth
it. Okay.
I will pay it.
Okay.
And there is a Japanese whiskey called Suntory.
Mm-hmm. I know Suntory.
That is worth it. I will pay, and that's an $85 bottle.
So there's one bottle in the entire world that is worth $75.
They have a $52 one at the INS on State Street across from Limbs.
Yeah.
It's one for $51.99.
Okay.
ANS?
Yes. Across from Limbs on 75th.
Okay, yeah, ANS. ANS
Yep.
liquor.
They have
the
$50 one. They have the 78. I think it's $78.99 or something like that. And then they got the one that's in the back that's 100 and something.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I had one other topic, and I know that we're doing shout outs, but screw it. We're having a nice conversation. What the hell happened to the Bulls last night? Y'all hate Vooch so much now? You guys don't like Vooch now? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Vooch was missed.
Vooch was missed last
Well,
night. Big time.
Can we say, let's be positive. Can we say it was less about what the Bulls didn't do and more about what Golden State did do?
What Steph Curry did.
Yes, Steph Curry was
50,
killing.
he was 9 3-pointers, 50
That man's
points.
insane.
Like, my God.
I need to go right now, actually. I was thinking about it last night and I didn't. I'm going to go look at his odds for MVP because he's going to win it.
Is it time to call Harry and put in that call?
I mean, I'm going to look and see what his MVP odds are, but man,
Because
that dude is insane. He is insane. Like, he is the best shooter I've ever seen in my life. Period.
And wait till Clay comes back.
He ain't even there yet.
I'm telling you, man.
What is it going to be with Clay?
Champions.
Like, I mean, like, Clay probably at this point in his career, though, like, he's had operations on both legs. Like, isn't he more of like just a spot up guy at this point? Like, he's not going to be doing a lot of handling. He's going to be more of a spot up shooter. Like, he's not going to be the old Clay, but that shooting touch doesn't go away, right?
It doesn't, but think of it like this too. He was a great defender, but he was never like freakishly athletic. So he really is not losing too much because of the injuries. He's really not. So 80%. Like, look what happened to Kevin Durant. People are like, he's not going to be the same. I can't tell. He looks like the same Kevin Durant to me.
Yeah, he does. But that was one. Like, this is both legs. Like he's had operations on both sides.
But they say I've seen him shoot around and running and stuff, and I've seen him dunking. He looks good.
I know another guy that had operations on both legs, and he really did not lose that much.
Well, didn't Dominique do it?
I guess 2021 technology just helped, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
And I don't know about Dominique. Did Dominique do it?
I don't know.
I know he had one,
but
for sure.
I know back then
it was worse.
He had at least one, and
he
didn't come back like he was.
Yeah. So right now on FanDuel, Steph Curry to win MVP is plus 260.
Oh, so we're late.
That's not horrible. I would still take that odd. I would still take that. So
what would
like,
you have to put down?
Well, so if basically that means like a plus 260 means like if you put down $100, you win $260. So if you put down $1,000 for him to win right now, you'd win $2,600.
$2,600, yeah.
So if you put it, say that you wanted to put, I don't know, put 50 on it, right? You put 50 on it, that's $130. That's half what 260 is.
Right. That's the petty bet.
That's still money in your pocket.
It is, but that's
the dude's probably gonna win. Like,
if you're gonna put up money, put up hundreds.
Well, see,
no,
that's how I am
for this one.
That's how I am. Like I usually like, I don't like doing like all the little small bets. I like doing one massive ass big bet and like winning like a band. Like I like winning $1,000. Like I don't like winning $5-10 here. Like I'm not into that. Like I like doing big parlays for $1,000.
But actually, speaking of petty bets, I went to the boat the other day. Actually, I went to Rivers Casino. I went to Rivers Casino.
How'd that go?
I was betting petty as hell.
You just talking about how you don't bet petty, and you're like, I was petty as hell.
Hey, look on the podcast the other day, I told y'all I'm petty. I'm petty. So I was betting petty as hell. Like I would play, let's say I would play $20 chips. So I would play $20 chips.
Well, what game you playing?
I'm playing roulette.
Okay.
And then let's say
that's what I like to play too.
I hit
I'm a roulette
one.
Guy.
I hit one. So I win $35 after spending 20.
Yeah.
So I'm really only netting 15. That's petty as hell. But that's what I was doing because I didn't want to bet no big money.
Yeah.
I'm petty.
I went to Vegas and I played a lot of roulette there, and like I was like splitting, like I was going crazy. I won like $600-700 in like an hour.
Damn.
Like it was so bad. Like there was a dude like from the casino that was hanging around behind me watching me play. And like I was like, am I doing something wrong? And he's like, no. And he was really like silent. Like he didn't want to say a lot, but like he would answer me. but I won like $600-700, and like all I was doing was just splitting and just like having like 3 numbers that like I would like throw it at, and then I would split a bunch, and no matter what happened, I'd be winning like $5, $10, $15 every time because one of my split numbers would hit, and I would put enough down to where I wouldn't lose a lot if I lost everything, but I was hitting on my splits. And then one time I hit one solid number, and I won like 800, right? So I went back and I did it again, and then it was 0. So I lost, right? I was like, well, shit. I did it one more time. I got zeros again. I lost like $150 in a couple spins because it was zeros both times. So I was like, yep, I'm done. So I left with like $700.
You gotta watch out. You gotta watch out for those people that be watching you at the casino.
They were watching me. Like, I actually pulled my phone out because like I wanted to take a photo of like all my chips, and the guy got mad at me and was like, "You can't do that." I'm like, "Well, I'm doing it anyway," and I did.
There was a dude that was being watched in at the Rivers Casino the other day. And this is no joke. It's not a lie. He was being watched at the Rivers Casino, and he hit for $10,000.
Damn.
He went out to his car and got robbed.
Oh man.
Yeah, this was just the other day.
And they got away with it?
They got away with that shit.
At what casino?
Rivers.
So that's the one that I gotta go to? I'm just gonna hang out in the parking lot with a gun, man. Jesus. If it's that easy to rob people, my God.
They got away with that.
There's no security or anything watching that?
He had the option of getting security. He did not opt to get it.
What is that like? What is that like?
Yeah, you gotta
is that like an extra charge or something they put on it?
No.
So what the fuck? Why not?
I don't know. Maybe this motherfucker thought he was.
Well, then he deserved it.
Superman or some shit.
Come on, man.
When you win that much money, you gotta have security.
Yeah, you gotta be smarter than that.
Somebody's gonna rob you if
Come on, man.
See,
you gotta be smarter than that.
I would rob you if I was watching.
Damn right. If I had 10 grand, I would be like, I want a SWAT team following my ass, and I want a helicopter following me home. That's what I want. Period. End of story. I don't want no bullshit like that. So you win any money?
Did I win any money?
Yeah.
No, I just won what I bet. The money that I went to the casino with, I left with that same amount of money.
That ain't a bad day because you get to drink for free.
No,
don't
you gotta pay for your shit at Rivers.
You do in Vegas. Oh my God, in Vegas.
In Vegas,
that's how they got me.
It's free.
Like I was winning, and there was these real nice, courteous waitresses that just kept coming up to me and just handing me Coronas and handing me mixed drinks. Oh, it's all complimentary, sir.
Yeah.
Then I got hammered, and I was still trying to bet hammered. And I'm like, it didn't.
That's how they get you. They make their money right back when you sit on the table.
Not in Chicago. You don't get anything free in Chicago, according to Facebook user.
And their little prices have went up because COVID. People trying to make that COVID money back.
Again.
So yeah,
I gotta block this nonsense out here. Okay.
It's crazy. But,
we already had our hater try to come in and try to disrupt things.
Thanks, hater.
I already blocked him.
Fuck out of here.
He gone.
All right, so I'm gonna finish my shout outs and then we're gonna get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we need to get rolling.
Eric, thank you so much. Eric, you were awesome. Can't wait to have you back. We're gonna ask you them real questions. Like how do you feel about Jay Cutler? How do you feel when people say Jay Cutler was the best quarterback in Chicago Bears history?
You think you would have done better with that team? I do.
Absolutely.
His mental state was better than Cutler's, not his physical ability.
And if he had that team that Rex Grossman had, they would have went to the Super Bowl. Easy. They would have went to the Super Bowl.
Not gonna debate you.
But so shout out to Eric, shout out to Moore, shout out to LEC, shout out to Trey Bella. Make sure you watch She Said What She Said. And I think I'm finished with my shout. Oh, Any family that I have, blood family that I have that's in the chat, I appreciate you guys. Next time, maybe you'll say something so I can acknowledge you. All right, I'm done. So with that being said, my man JB, the stat man who knows every single stat from every single team since the 80s and 90s. My man, the X Factor, JB.
Whoa,
I mean, AB. I'm sorry, AB.
Who?
AB. Hey.
All right.
Shout out to Moore.
Yeah, shout out to Moore for making you slip. That's
my
what
man,
it really
AB,
is.
the X Factor. I am the point guard, quarterback T. Nick. Not the quarterback today, though. The quarterback was already in here, Erik Kramer. That's the greatest quarterback I ever seen in Chicago. But I am the point guard today. And I am the coolest dude in the room. I'm not going to say the other part.
I'm waiting for you to slip one of these days and say it.
You gotta get them some more.
I'm waiting to catch you, man. I am.
I'm not going to slip on that one. I don't care how much more I drink. I ain't going to slip on that one. Goddamn.
We'll see about it on Tuesday.
Yeah, but guys, great show. But we out.
Later.
This is Sherry, and you're rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse podcast, where they think they know everything